My husband asked if our son is really his. I don't think I can forgive him.
Don't do it.
This is a throwaway account because I don't want my husband to see it and I need to let it out somewhere. My husband, male 26, let's call him Mark, and I, female 24, have been together for 5 years, married for 3, and have a 2-month-old son together. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, our relationship, like any other, has had its ups and downs, but we have always been faithful to one another, and I have never had any reason to doubt his loyalty to me or our marriage. We met in college and became friends very quickly. We started dating around 6 months into our friendship, and I have been madly in love with him since. Mark has been the best husband and dad, and I feel more in love with him every time I see him interact with our son. He is always sweet and thoughtful, and he's been my best friend the entire time I've known him, and I'm so taken aback by this situation yesterday. We have always kept our relationship troubles private and try to solve our problems between each other. We don't bring others into our disagreements in order to make sure that we aren't influenced by their feelings. So neither my parents nor his know about this, and I have nobody to talk to. I have never experienced feelings as I am now, and I don't know how to sort through them. Yesterday, I was feeling sick, so I decided to take our son with me to take a nap while Mark was working from home. I woke up to our baby needing a diaper change, but I was still feeling rough, so I asked Mark, who was taking a break from work, if he could change him for me before going back. He came in, sweetly as always, and took care of him for me. This is where things caught me by surprise. While changing his diaper, I was laying in bed, and Mark asked, "He's for sure my son, right?" Oh, he's actively changing diaper. He goes, "He's for sure my son, right?" We have always talked about not making jokes that would call anything in our marriage to question, such as not joking about divorce or anything like that. The funny thing is, I don't think that he's joking. Ugh. We find jokes like that are not appropriate and always make the conscious decision to stay away from them. So when he asked that, I assumed he was joking, and I was surprised and instantly hurt. I told him not to make jokes like that, and I got out of bed to get some space from him and drink some water. He followed me out of the bedroom and asked again in a seemingly joking manner. I said, "Of course he is, and I already said I don't like jokes like that. I need you to stop." I thought that was the end of it, and my feelings were hurt still, so I tried to go back to bed and get my mind off of it, but he stopped me. He asked again and said that he had some doubts for some time, including during my pregnancy, and said that our son looked nothing like him, so he needed a straight answer. I was, and still am, absolutely shocked, hurt, and just confused all around. I told him I was giving him a chance to take back the question because I was extremely hurt by it, but he doubled down. In that moment, I was overcome by anger, and I told him we were leaving. I took our son, got us both dressed, and said we'd be going out for a drive and to leave me alone while I thought. He tried to stop me and started saying, "We weren't going anywhere. You want to bet, buddy?" I'm about to give him the old pow pow. I'm sorry, you question your wife's loyalty to you and then have the audacity to say that she's not allowed to go anywhere? I thought that wasn't your son. If it's not your son, then you have no right to say where he goes with his mother.
That's so true.
You can't have it both ways, Buster. Send this man to the Ord Cloud. I don't want you in my sight. He tried to stop me and said, "We're not going anywhere." And I asked him why he freaking cared if I left, since he didn't think our son was his anyway. Why did he care if I took someone else's son with me for a drive? I think now that maybe I shouldn't have said that and caused more doubt, but I was furious and extremely hurt, and I wanted him to let us leave. Absolutely should have said that. I have never given him any reason to believe that I would cheat on him, and I've never ever been tempted by anyone else. I love Mark, and I have never been with anyone else while we were in a relationship. I have never cheated. I took our son and drove a few miles away from our house to somewhere I knew he wouldn't find us so that I could have some time alone to cry and think. I was gone for about an hour, and when I got home, his car was gone, so I went to our bedroom, put the baby in his crib, and laid back down to try and take another nap, as I was still not feeling well. I cried myself to sleep. I woke up to Mark coming into our bedroom and saying, "Sorry I asked that. I just had to be sure."
Really, buddy?
Did you really have to ask that? I don't think so.
You know what I don't have to be sure of? That this man needs to get the F out of my life.
Bye. I don't want to see you sniffing around these parts ever again, Buster. I woke up to Mark coming into our bedroom and saying, "Sorry I asked that. I just had to be sure." I immediately started crying and told him I wasn't ready for his apology and that it was not an appropriate question to ask. Ever. as I had never given him any reason to think otherwise. We talked for a bit, and I told him how hurt I was, and he apologized and cried and asked to hold our son, to whom he also apologized, and he let me take my nap while he took care of our son. We didn't talk too much about it after that. We had dinner together, and he talked about other random things, acting like everything was normal. We went to bed, and he cuddled up to me and told me he loved me and apologized again, and I told him I loved him too and went to sleep. I do love him, but I feel I am not ready to forgive him yet. I can't just go back to normal. I feel absolutely betrayed by the accusations in his question, and I don't know what to say or do. He thinks everything is fine now and is talking to me as if nothing happened, but I just can't get over it like that. I feel angry and have acted almost apathetic towards him since our conversation yesterday. I think he can tell I'm not okay, but he hasn't said anything about it, so I think he's just trying to act like everything is normal until I'm over it or something. Get this man to therapy!
Lock him in a box, dude. Don't let him escape.
We can put a little radiation there, pull a little Schrodinger's man. We don't know if he's alive or not. I don't want to know. Keep him in that box. I don't know if I'm overreacting to this. You're not. And I've pretty much just been on the verge of tears constantly since yesterday. I can't look him in the eye. I feel betrayed, and I don't know how to recover from this. Am I overreacting? Should I just try and forget about it and let things go back to normal? I don't plan on telling anyone in our lives about the situation. I don't want anyone else to feel hurt on my behalf. He's a good man and has always been kind to my family. I just don't know where this came from, and I have no idea how to cope with these emotions. I just needed to let it out somewhere, and there is an update. What do you think? What say that you?
When a man accuses the wife of the baby not being theirs, it is accusing you of cheating. It is accusing you that you had the baby and didn't tell them, and insinuates that you're trying to, use them or whatever to like father and help care for your child for 18 plus years.
The betrayal of that question, everything that it insinuates, is somewhat insurmountable.
And dare I say, Sophia, I mean, we've had a lot of stories, you've seen these stories where these guys come in like, oh, it's the baby, my blah. This man might just take the cake for one of the dumbest ways to ask and persist.
Is that my baby? And she's like, don't joke about that. And he's like, okay, but is it my baby? Where'd your brain go, dude? Yeah, like, what is his proof? That his baby kind of doesn't look like him? They're not doppelgangers, dude. But there is an update.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. Well, let's get back to the story.
Thank you all for the thoughts and perspectives I posted on here because I needed an outlet, and I also thought some anonymous outside perspectives would help me gather my thoughts. I think I read pretty much every comment on here, and you guys are saying some new things and a lot of the things I've thought about myself, including projecting, overreacting on my part, anxiety on his part, the stresses of marriage and parenthood, and the fact that there are 2 sides to the story. Reddit is being too nice today.
Get back on your mob bandwagon, guys. We need energy.
Where is the usual divorce? Now you're saying, oh, there's 2 sides to every story?
There's not good people on both sides.
There's one bad side.
And it is this man, Mark.
I talked to him briefly on the phone during his lunch break and asked if we could have a serious discussion over dinner when he gets back from work. I am planning on keeping an open mind, and I asked that he keep himself open emotionally as well so we can lay it out on the table. I believe this marriage is worth it, and I'm willing to put in the work it takes to resolve this, provided infidelity is not the reason. I will bring up marriage counseling as many of you have suggested, and I plan on talking until we have some kind of resolution that I can live with. I am definitely feeling better having taken some time to just pray and meditate in peace with my thoughts. And I know I did some overreacting. I could have definitely de-escalated the situation, but instead acted out of hurt and anger. I know he has struggled with anxiety and depression in the past, and I want to keep myself in check when hearing his side and emotions. Girl, why are you putting this all on you? What are you doing? She's like, I know that I made the wrong decision here. I know that I'm at fault. Girl, no.
I peeped when she said earlier, she was like, oh, he was like such a good guy, and this came out of nowhere. I think that they have this toxic relationship where she is always the one like basically apologizing and all of that.
That's what it seems like. I will update once we've talked. Thanks, everyone. And there is an update, so I'm assuming they've talked. We had a talk over dinner that lasted a few hours because of interruptions from the baby. A couple of things I wanted to respond to here since there were a lot of comments saying similar things and I can't respond to them all individually. When we first argued, I told Mark that the baby was undoubtedly his and that his questioning was hurtful as I thought he knew me and knew that I would never be unfaithful to him. I didn't add this to the original post because I thought it went without saying, but I guess not. That's my fault. I admit I reacted defensively and that was not the way to go. Girl.
Be offensive.
I didn't stop to think about his perspective as the initial shock hurt me more than I've been hurt in our relationship this far. And I really wasn't thinking about the reason behind the question. I was upset and needed space to manage my emotions so I wouldn't be talking to him while seeing red. My mother-in-law is the kindest person and has been wonderful to me throughout mine and Mark's entire relationship. She's been incredibly supportive and the best grandma, our baby is her first grandchild. She's been as involved as she could possibly be from another state, and she was in the delivery room with me the entire labor. I love her, and I know she's not putting anything like this into Mark's head. We agreed to keep our relationship problems private because of something that happened when we were dating. Long story short, we got into a fight and included our parents and siblings, and people ended up taking sides. And there were more hurt feelings than were necessary between our respective siblings and each other. My brothers and sisters were upset at him and his brother upset at me. If there were ever a situation we felt needed outside opinions from family or friends, I'm sure we would have come to the decision to talk to them together. But so far, I just really didn't want to give my family or his reason to be upset with either of us or cause a divide. The idea that he was projecting did cross my mind because of other Reddit stories, but I have never doubted his faithfulness to me. It's really funny because you may not have doubted him, but he's continuously doubting you.
And he just keeps doubling down on that.
I do not believe he has or ever will cheat, but he does believe that you have cheated. I know him and I can say this for certainty. I appreciate all the concern of everyone saying this to warn me though. If it weren't my relationship, I could see how this could be interpreted. So dinner. We talked and came to a resolution. First, I asked him to tell me, free of judgment, why he asked in the first place. In our initial argument, he just said he didn't know and shrugged it off. You better figure out why. You better figure it out, buddy. He's like, I don't know. It just kind of came to me one night. I had a dream about it. I thought I'd ask. In our initial argument, he just said he didn't know and shrugged it off. Well, at dinner, he went more in depth. He said that he's been feeling insecure as a husband and a father lately, and he didn't feel like he deserved to be happy, so something must be going on. He's expressed sentiments like this before in a relationship. He has struggled with depression and anxiety, and he feels unworthy of love and happiness. He's seen therapists for this kind of thing, but sometimes he does struggle with his self-esteem. I told him that our baby was 100% his and that we could take a DNA test if that would help. He said he didn't want to do that because he trusted me and he really regrets feeling any kind of doubt about our son. He let his intrusive thoughts get the better of him, but he knows that I love him and would never cheat on him. We resolved to do an Ancestry.com profile for our son as a compromise.
How is that a compromise? She was literally like, hey, we'll do it. And he's like, oh, no, that's good. And now he's like, nah, let's go ahead and do it.
He's like, let's do just a more extensive DNA test, as it would give Mark full peace of mind and could also be something our son could look back on for fun. They're like, hey, remember when dad thought you weren't his son? Good times. My husband and his brother were both given ancestry kits as gifts from their mom so they could learn more about their dad, who left after the divorce and hasn't seen them in person in over a decade. So we thought this was appropriate. I shared my perspective and apologized for encouraging his anxiety and doubt by acting defensive and leaving. I explained the reason I needed to leave for a bit was because I didn't want to say anything extreme I would come to regret later, and I needed to get my thoughts together. I expressed that I was apologetic for leaving so abruptly, but that I didn't apologize for feeling upset or hurt. It wasn't about making it about me, but the question of paternity ultimately has an insinuation of unfaithfulness, and I was insulted and just felt betrayed by the implication. I told him that I wanted to give him reassurance and that our marriage was worth passing away to myself a little to help him with his anxiety and insecurities as long as he could acknowledge that his questioning and demeanor in that were inherently hurtful. OP just conceded so much.
Live your life. Go enjoy it. You deserve that.
I think all in all, it was a productive conversation and I feel good about the resolution. I feel a lot better about our standing in our marriage and I'm left a lot more comforted than I was where we left it last night. Ultimately, when we got married, we vowed in the name of love, for better or for worse. And I do not plan on leaving at the first big bump we've hit in our marriage. Even after the honeymoon period has been long past, I've never felt like we left it. Sure, we've had arguments and disagreements, hurt feelings and apologies, but we've always been able to get past them. This is bigger than anything else we've faced, but that's not a reason to throw everything away. The best things in life are worth fighting for, and we've agreed that we are both in it for the long haul. But you can be in it for the long haul with us by listening to more full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime to hear more stories like this. There's more to this story.
I like how she gave this whole just like soliloquy.
A whole monologue on this.
And then I feel like if he was asked like why, he'd be like, meh.
He's like, I don't know. I just like thought that she might be cheating on me. So I had that thought and I thought, oh, I should express it right now. It came to my mind and I thought, I'll say it right now.
I went to therapy and they told me to express my feeling.
And so I expressed this feeling. So I accused my wife of cheating on me.
I'm a good guy.
Again, I want to say I appreciate all of your perspectives, whether they were calling me out for my defensiveness or in support, validating my feelings. I read every comment and thought about each one with an open mind. I never thought that a vent post about the situation would get so much attention, and I want to thank everyone for their genuine opinions. I don't expect there will be any other updates to this, and I probably won't post anything else on this account. I will show my husband this post eventually, I think. It may be helpful for him to read some of the comments, as it was for me. Anyway, that's all. Thank you. God bless. Run away. Or, I mean, like, he needs to go to intense therapy, because I'm sorry, like marriage counseling's good idea, great idea, but he needs to go to individual therapy to figure out why he's accusing his wife of cheating on him.
Yes. In an ideal world, he's going to therapy doing that. I refuse to let my husband control our finances because he's trying to control me. So my husband and I have been married for over a year, and he knows what I make hourly, but I don't just hand my money over to him. By the way, this comes from Material Pearl 1840 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So backstory, 10 years, my kid's dad took control of my bank account and income, spent my savings, and gave me an allowance of $50 a week from my own check. This had to cover gas, groceries, and diapers. So I gave birth to a second child a year and a half later and would walk to the store so I would have gas for work. Oh my God. We've seen financial manipulation. This man is the Satan of financial manipulators. My God. One day, I had to make a decision on buying diapers for my oldest or my newborn. I cried in the diaper section because I couldn't believe my life had gotten to this point. I'll never forget the kind person who purchased the diapers for my children and gave me extra money to hide. When I had gotten home, I was belittled and accused of stealing money to buy so much. Yeah, for your own freaking children. When I explained $50 a week for the family of 4 of us, $50, including diapers, wasn't enough, he told me to figure it out. I asked for $100 a week. Eventually, I convinced him to allow me more money. 3 months later, I left and swore I would never allow another man to do that again. Present day, 10 years later, my husband was fully aware that I came with about $18,000 in credit card debt. It's a bundled deal, ladies and gentlemen. I've successfully paid almost all of it in 2 full years. That's big.
That's some work.
That is making it happen, Cap'n. Made it possible by not having my own house, leech of an ex with 4 kids, and no utilities. I'm responsible for groceries for a family of 5, phone bill for us, and car insurance. I have my car payment and 1 credit card. My husband pays the utilities and house payment. We recently purchased a new to us camper, and he took a loan out on it and put the money I got from my totaled camper in the bank. So he has that as well as his vehicle payment. He says that I should be giving him $300 or more a month for savings and to help with the utilities, and I won't. So to quickly big picture summarize what's happening here, it seems that while she is in a much better split payment financial situation, this new husband is still asking for a little more than it seems he needs to be. And OP is understanding to be like, hey, you know where I came from? Yeah, I'm not dealing with an ounce of BS, as she shouldn't. Stand up, queen. If something happens to him, I can't access that account to pay bills, etc. I don't believe I'm on his account at all. I opened an account 5 months ago and have $250 per check placed into it for safekeeping. I love it. I also must get school supplies, kids' clothes, etc., etc. Now, with his ex-wife, they split the cost 50-50 for their daughter, but my ex and I are not on those type of terms. My husband gets huffy that my situation is not like his, but I told him it is what it is. Now, every pay period, he will ask me for money for utilities, and I brush it off or say, if you buy groceries, sure. He says, I don't know how to save money, and he should have what's left of my check each week for a vacation, going out to dinner, etc., etc.
What?
Once again, he just said, I should have your leftover money, your savings money, so I can go on vacations and go out to dinners.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not even we can go on vacation and go out to dinners. Brother, I won't do it. The mere thought of having an allowance again terrifies me. Do I overspend some weeks? Yes, but I don't use a credit card to buy those items anymore. I don't rob Peter to pay Paul like I did back in 2020. I budget right down to the coupons for groceries and what my grocery bill will be before I enter the store. OP is on her stuff. He says I need to trust him and let him hold on to all of our money together because his savings account is my savings account also.
But her name isn't on it.
Literally, like, this dude is, and for sure, new husband knows the history that she's been through. To say like, oh, your savings account is my savings account too, knowing the context of what she's been through, to me is pure insanity.
Different husband, same man.
Talk about it. I just can't bring myself to do this unless I have full access to that account as well. I don't see that being an option. He recently sold a vehicle and put $16,000 into savings and gave me $1,000 to spend on whatever I wanted to. So I put $200 in the bank, bought my kids each one Christmas gift early at a friend's house, so I didn't hand it over now. They were on sale, and I paid $200 a piece per item. And I ordered myself some new glasses, $275, and some contacts, $150. I wanted a hoodie for $20, and he said, I gave you the money. Did you spend it already? Hey, did you take the money and spend it on? Yeah, I spent it on our freaking kids. Yeah, lock me up. Sorry, I bought a gift for our children. We are parenting together. I said, kind of. He knew what I did with it. He understands what she spent it on. And he said he wasn't buying the hoodie because I'm irresponsible with money, and he should have never given me the $1,000 and asked for receipts on everything I bought. He knew I went to the eye doctor. He knew how much I paid, and he knew about the gifts I got now because I saved more than I spent on the Christmas gifts. He's been very pushy about just holding all the money that his friends are beginning to make comments about it. What friends are like, oh, hey, your wife's holding on to too much of her savings account? Find new friends. We need to dump the friends.
Can I ask if I'm understanding this right?
Yes.
So she's making her own money.
Yes.
He's making his own money.
Yes.
He's asking for money for utilities to pay.
They basically split different costs of the house, right? And yeah, he'll say things along the lines of, oh, hey, could you give me the money to cover utilities? And she's like, we've already split, or could you put it in an account that I have control of? Could you give me some of your leftover money that I can use for vacations and dinners? And when he says,
is she getting money from him for vacations and dinners?
All she is getting is he is helping cover some of the other bills that are there. So after there's a close to at least, a split, some sort of split for living expenses, he's asking for extra money from her.
I think there needs to be a discussion reestablishing boundaries, saying like, hey, we're married, but I want our finances to be separate. I think what he's probably thinking, and I could be totally wrong, but he's like, I'm the man of the house, thus I need to control all the finances, and all my friends think that the man should control all the finances. And like, one, that is not at all how a house needs to be run.
Yep.
And two, OP has trauma believing that a man will take care of her if he controls all the finances, and then literally financially abusing this woman. So I feel like it's a huge red flag, but maybe there's a chance OP can reestablish boundaries and get through to this guy in the social pressure that he may be feeling from friends or whatever his upbringing was that made him think it was okay to like demand this. But it's looking really, really, it's not looking great.
He is, like you said, basically completely ignoring her trauma and bulldozing her back into traumatic territory when he should be doing the polar opposite.
The opposite.
Telling me I need to pay when we go out for drinks, telling me that I need to pull that debit card out and pay the tab. So it is the friends are like, he's like, hey babe, like, can you like put some money aside for me? And the friend's like, yeah, why aren't you putting some money aside for him?
Yeah. So I guess the friends are like, oh, OP, you wanna like keep all your money to yourself? Then why don't you pay the tab? Like that's kind of the energy that they're bringing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So OP goes on to say, I probably have $10,000 in the bank. I leave the tip. I don't drink when we go out aside from just water. Occasionally I will have a sipper, but I will not risk a DUI. I tip because the bartenders are usually really good, making sure my water is full all the time and I never go without. So I take care of them. Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband have control of all of the money? Real quick before we get into this edit, just to answer this, I mean, a resounding no. Like, this guy should understand what a traumatic experience you've been through. And again, do the polar opposite of what he's doing.
Yeah. You know, I would be curious from you guys, you know, what is the financial dynamic in your relationship and what do you think is healthy in a financial dynamic? Because, you know, there are worlds where people are okay with this, where it's like, all right, I'm going to give one partner all the money and they decide how we both spend it. But there are also relationships where it's like, you have your money, I have my money, and we come together for joint expenses. Like, I'm curious what you believe to be effective in your own relationship, or if there's any financial rules that you think should be universal. I think, like, in my relationship dynamics, like, if we're kind of making equal amounts, we just pay equally for each other. If maybe it's like massively different, like you could pay. I've seen like pay percentage. So it's like the one person makes like twice the amount, then that person pays twice the bill to the other person. You know,
the one thing that all of the good setups have in common is consensus.
Consensus and communication.
Agreed. Hey, this is what we want to do. And they're both happy with it. All of the good, healthy working setups, it's all consensus, all communication.
So the communication has broken down here, and my suspicion is like these friends are like pressuring OP's husband to like take more manly financial power in the relationship, and he's like maybe getting a little self-conscious, and then like there's these undertones of toxic masculinity that are being fueled.
Poll, divorce or nah? I'm curious. Vote, and we're going to keep reading, and then we're going to talk about it. Let's get into this edit. I want to be clear that the debt I acquired and had when we moved in together was from a past relationship, the one, you know, the really bad one from the beginning, taking a huge pay cut and the good old pandemic. During that time, it destroyed my income. I hardly worked and was continuing looking for work while homeschooling both my kids. I robbed Peter to pay Paul, and my ex-boyfriend, who lived with me, didn't want to help with anything and was a huge financial burden. I had to get that reeled in. Edit number 2. Our incomes are similar currently. In January, I was put up for promotion, and once my training is complete, my monthly income will be 1.5 times more than my current monthly income.
Than his current monthly income.
I'm sorry. Than his current monthly income. So OP will then be making quite a bit more. My current income based off his base pay and not overtime yearly is about a $6,000 a year difference annually and can go up to $20,000 with OT. In other words, OP could make
$20,000 more.
Up to $20,000 more per year. Edit number 3. His bills amount to roughly $700 a month. House is $400, leaving $300 openly for gas, water, electricity. Mine, car insurance, $250 a month. It changed again because he sold a vehicle and bought a different one. Last month it was $337. Phones a little over $264, includes internet. Groceries, which range from $200 to $400 a week, depending on produce and meat, etc., which is a big reason why I haven't been helping with household bills. I also pay for all streaming services, which can be ridiculous too. So super quickly, just to sum that all up. So over here, we have husband is paying $700 a month. And then to do some quick maths, maybe Riley, if you could help me.
I'm guessing she's paying like $1,000.
Yeah.
That's my out of the butt math. 1,650.
That's bare minimum. That's bare minimum, by the way.
That was good. That was good. Holy cow.
So,
dude, off the dome. Holy cow.
Oh, you said 1650.
He said 1650.
I thought you were reading the thing. That's crazy.
No.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. So yeah, as Mr. Math Brainiac Samuel Donner.
That was a total guess. That was a total guess.
Dude, you got that. You got that. Said OP is paying like way more than him, and remember, he's still asking for way more.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of this is just coming from also him not knowing how much she's pulling, you know? Potentially. It could just also be toxic masculinity, patriarchy kind of stuff, but it could potentially be him thinking that he pays more than his fair share and her thinking that she pays more than her fair share, and there's just like a communication lapse there, which, you know, like I think very well could just be he's a dick, but come to the table with some communication and find out for sure.
Yeah, double check that he knows like, oh, I'm paying like over double. Yeah.
And double check that you know how much like you're paying relative to him, you know?
Yeah.
Communicate, like I feel like financial communication is super important.
Indeed. Make sure he knows. I kind of guess he would, but make sure for sure. Additional information from OP on the finances towards mortgage, bills, etc. OP says, when we agreed to move in together and I gave up my rental home, he paid for everything so I could pay off the debt and purchase a vehicle. I couldn't afford the car payment prior to moving in any longer, so I sold it back to the dealership. I borrowed a vehicle from my sister for 4 months till I got some of my stuff paid down and then bought a new car with a lower payment. After about 5 months of relying on him for everything, he asked if I wanted to cover groceries since I do the cooking and home inventory, toiletries, kitchen supplies, etc. I took that on as well as taking the phone bill and then the car insurance. He said that the house and utilities were in his name and my kids and I moving in didn't change much aside from water, and he wasn't concerned on me paying those because the main thing in the house that went up was the groceries. We had balanced it out with the house payment and utilities being around $650 to $700 in total. Myself paying for the car insurance, $300 for the 3 vehicles and camper, phone payment of $200, as well as being the person to buy all the groceries. It was even enough that he pays the utilities and the house.
So what I'm hearing from that is that for a while he paid everything for her
in the beginning,
and then over time it equalized.
It seemed like over time it tipped the scale to now where she's paying a lot more.
And you know what I think? You know, I think he's probably thinking, wow, I paid for her everything and she's not valuing that. And she's probably thinking, I'm paying way more than my fair share now, and he's not valuing that. And so again, I think there is a miscommunication here.
Yeah. If he feels that way, he needs to say, hey, you know, I was covering everything for a good bit to get you back on your feet. I would like, you know, now that you know, time period is done, I, you know, would like for you to contribute more in these areas. But he's like, no, give me the money and the accounts.
He's not communicating that at all.
He's like
in
demanding.
a healthy way.
Yeah.
And it's like in an underhanded way. And yeah, I think there is a really poor communication style here.
Almost, and conspiracy theory, but almost as if he used him paying in the beginning to then
leverage
for control. Yeah. Bingo.
Which, you know, we don't know until we have that conversation, but it is feeling, it's not feeling great.
No.
It's not feeling great. Nicole H. asked, and what is his income? His income is $20,000 less than OP.
Yeah,
right now.
6 to 20,000 less a year.
You know what?
than OP.
Actually, we could actually do this math where because we know that OP's
expenses.
Yeah, we know OP is making 1.5 times what he makes a month. So it's like 1.5x equals Y, and then also something like that. 1.5x equals Y, and then it would be like X minus 20 equals Y. And so if we solve that equation, we would know exactly how much OP is making.
I was in dumb boy algebra
Something like
1 in 11th grade.
I understand.
So,
I understand.
You keep reading.
OP makes 1.5 times more than he does, right?
Yeah, OP makes one. Here, give me the whiteboard. Let me get the whiteboard. Is there a marker?
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna figure this out.
I actually had to do this math with my little brother. My dad couldn't do it, and I had to help him out. Like when I was there for Tate's graduation.
That's adorable. Also, we have an update. So, I took some of your suggestions previously. I asked him to go to marriage counseling, and he declined because he didn't have any issues in our marriage except me. Wow.
Red flag.
Red flag. Suggested a joint bank account for bills and bills alone, and we have separate accounts for savings. This argument was pretty much the end of our marriage for me, and I think we're about to see why. I opened my own savings account at a different bank than I currently bank through. I didn't have a debit card, and if I needed to pull money out, I had to physically go to the bank. I picked up side cleaning jobs for spending money, so I wouldn't really touch either account that I had. We went to a sporting event with our children. I have 2, and he has 1 from a previous relationship. After the event, the kids wanted fast food, which was okay with me. It was late, and I didn't want to cook. So he asked me when we won the lottery, and I told him I didn't feel like cooking, and it was fine, and I handed him $20. Bro, they literally went to get fast food, and bro said, "Oh, I don't know when we won the lottery. Why are we going out and doing this?" Bro, 3 days later, I went to work. Apparently, he had other decisions that came with the money in his account that he wanted me to put money into. I came home to the ugliest dang car in our driveway. ICUs? He wasn't at home. He was at the bar. So when he pulled in the driveway, I pretended to be sleeping so I wouldn't blow up on him that night. Since he had been drinking for 5 hours, I knew it wasn't the best idea anyways. Wow. He was mad at me when I woke up in the morning because I didn't say goodnight to him and was asleep by the time he got home. He said I don't have to worry because he's going to take out a loan on the car to put the money back in his savings account. The same thing he did with the camper when I gave him the money for it. Had I actually given him money to put in his savings account, it wasn't our money, it was his money. Financial decisions were his and his alone, apparently.
All right, I got it.
All right, break it down for us.
Okay, so X equals OP's money, Y equals hubby's money. We know that OP's money equals 1.5 times hubby's money. And we also know that OP's money equals hubby's money plus $20,000 because she makes $20,000 more. So what we do is this is X, so that's equal. So we make the 1.5Y equal to the Y plus 20,000. Then we subtract Y from here. We get 0.5 and we bring it over. So it goes 0.5Y equals 20,000. We divide by 0.5 on this side, divide by 0.5 on this side. So now we know that hubby makes $40,000 a year and OP makes $60,000 a year. I think.
That's Samuel Donner, ladies and gentlemen. If she gets all her overtime.
If she gets all her overtime.
But still. So I started looking for an apartment when I got into work, and with 3 hours, I was signing the paperwork and getting a cashier's check for a security deposit. I told him the day before I was moving and that I was leaving, and he asked me, how could I do this without talking to him? I said, well, you went and bought a whole car without talking to me first, so I got an apartment without your permission.
Oh.
I filed for divorce on my birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I've been called a gold digger, accused of having an affair and being blamed for his financial problems he is currently in. The camper I practically paid for, and he decided to get a loan on to have money in his savings account. Bro is such an idiot. He's like, oh, let me get more savings by taking out a loan. Brother.
Wicked smart.
Brother.
This guy.
He doesn't want any more and said, I have to pay for the cost of the loan to get it out from under him when I don't see why I should have to. Since I gave him the cash, I don't have a trail on what it was for when I gave him the money, nor did he ever put it in the bank after I gave it to him. And again, just to clarify one more time, she helped pay for this camper she gave him money for it. Then he took out a loan and he's like, oh, pay the money for the loan. She's like, I literally already gave you the money for it. What are you talking about? So if I want the camper, I don't really have a choice but to do it. He asked for cash for the camper, and I literally laughed out loud and said that I did that once already, and I'm not doing it again and having to pay additional anymore. He calls me asking for the truth and if I was really cheating on him, and that caused me to leave because I wasn't watering his garden. I told him marriages end for other things and not just affairs, and told him to seek therapy because he has a lot of unresolved issues from his previous marriages, plural, if he assumes that I cheated on him. By the way, you should never cheat on us, and the best way to do that is to tap our profile and join our lives every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Come on in, guys. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, get in here. Let's talk. Was divorce the right move?
I mean, I feel like OP didn't want this guy to control her, so
yes.
I honestly was mathing for a good portion of that second half.
Hey, mathing great, might I add.
I appreciate it, but yeah, I feel like OP needed to get out of that.
Yeah, it was, and you know what? OP started working extra cleaning jobs, opened up new bank accounts. She set herself up well, and the reason why she got the apartment and everything and didn't tell him is because if she did, who knows what he could have done to try to ruin that, try to take the money.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's ever good to lie to your partner, but I also think, like, you know, that
in circumstances of
marriage was
abuse and danger, which I think this falls into like the financially abusive category, it is justified.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think Cheryl Dye says, yes, divorce is overdue. I think in an ideal case, you divorce before you get, you know, the secret apartment and stuff, but also recognize that there are extenuating circumstances where people might need to create a safe exit for themselves.
Yeah. And I think this one falls into that category. I'm getting a divorce. After divorce, I'll be looking to purchase my own home and having absolutely no contact with him. My children and I are thriving already in our little apartment, and I'm managing my money very well. He wanted someone to depend on him and need him. That just wasn't me. There we have it.
And there we have it. That's the end.
That's right.
Let us know what you think OP should have done, or if you thought OP did the right thing.
Am I the a-hole for cutting off a longtime friend because she ate my husband's olives?
No.
My husband, Mitchell, 26 male, and I, 26 female, have this group of friends we hang out with. I knew them before I met my husband. It's a group of 6, excluding us, 5 males and 1 female. A few of them are siblings, but we're all close in age, 24 to 28. The members are Dalton, male 24, Jack, male 24, Lucas, male 27, Cole, male 26, Derek, male 28, and Ari, female 26. By the way, this comes from Aggressive Recipe 19, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/Okie Storytime subreddit. So, I first met Dalton and Jack 8 or so years ago when we worked together at a fast food place in a small town we all lived in. They invited me over to hang out one night, and the rest was history. We all became best friends. When I started dating Mitchell, I introduced him to the group, and he fit right in. Throughout the years, we still hung out. Sometimes it was months in between, but we still kept in touch through texts. Anyways, a few months ago, Derek invited us over for D&D. Heck yeah.
Hey, let's go.
And we've been playing a few days a week, every week since. Since Ari and I are the only 2 girls in the group, we like to hang out for a little while after our D&D sesh is over and gossip. Ari is Wiccan, and one night she offered to read my tarot cards. She started to give me a reading on my love life. At this point, I was already married to Mitchell. While she was reading, she started to choke up and get nervous.
Uh-oh.
Ari kept saying the cards were showing her a sad ending and adultery, and kept saying, "Are you sure you want to keep going?" Anyways, by the end, she had me fully convinced my husband was going to cheat on me and divorce me. I brushed it off because we've always been good. It'll be 7 years together, and he's amazing at communicating and sorting out our issues while being civil. Anyways, fast forward 2 weeks later, and it's Jack's birthday. We go out bar hopping. We're all about 3 to 4 drinks in and a few shots deep. Mitchell finishes his drink, so I go to the bar to order him and myself another. I notice while I'm up ordering, Ari is talking and laughing with Mitchell, which doesn't bother me because we've all been so close for so long. And I trust them both. It's taking me a while to get our drinks as the bar is packed. I just keep hearing Ari giggling. I'm getting excited, like, let's get these drinks going because I want to know what's so funny. Finally, I got the drinks. I got Mitchell a vodka tonic with extra olives, his favorite. When I get to them, silence. They stop giggling. No big deal. I give Mitchell his drink and head to the bathroom because I had to pee. I come back, they're giggling again. Ari puts her hand on Mitchell's hand on the drink glass and uses her other hand to grab the stick full of olives out of Mitchell's drink, looks him in the eyes, and sucks them off. Whoa.
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 I felt my face burn red hot. I'm really comfortable in a relationship, so it usually takes a lot for me to get jealous, but the liquor made me feel some type of way. I told Mitchell I wasn't feeling well and wanted to head out. So we went home and I brought up how her actions and him not stopping them made me uncomfortable. And he just brushed it off like it wasn't a big deal. The next day, I vented to my sister Jamie about it, and she said that it seems like the olive incident and the tarot card incident do not seem to be coincidental. Since she said that, I've been looking back on all the weird things I've overlooked the past few years. Ari always sitting next to him in D&D. Their characters always departing from the group and going off on side quests together. Always going out to smoke when Mitchell does, etc. So here we are 6 months later, and I've completely stopped all communication to Ari and the guys. A few of them have reached out asking to hang out, but I lied and said we're just super busy. Oh, I don't know if that's the best course of action. Mitchell and I were planning a party, and he suggested we invite Ari. It put me off. I asked why. He replied, well, she's your good friend. I told him I haven't talked to her since the olive incident, and she hasn't tried to reach out either. He said I'm an a-hole and looking too far into this. Now he's guilt-tripping me for cutting off contact. Am I the a-hole? And there is an update.
Wow.
We're going to get back to the story, but Sam, you have a copious amount of something.
What, John?
X's.
I have like 4 or 5 or 6.
I heard of 6 with a 0
All
behind
right,
it.
that 60 number, comes from somewhere else.
Where does that come from?
It comes from our OK Storytime membership.
Yeah, that's freaking right. We have 60 plus hours of exclusive live streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
It's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Join a club almost as exclusive as Sam's X is. Well, let's get back to the story.
So it wasn't just space. She like actually
No,
did
she's cut off.
them
Yeah.
off.
Update. I spoke to Mitchell about Ari. Before I get to that, let me answer some questions. He was in the room while I was having my cards read. He just shook his head the whole time. He doesn't believe in tarot. I'm sorry. Wait. He was in the room while Ari was like, your husband is cheating on you.
What?
Y'all saying, how does she not have a phone? Everyone has a phone. Dude, we're from piss poor Midwest town. We're not privileged. I want to clarify that they've never been flirty before, ever. Not even a little. Ari has never even looked twice at Mitchell, and he doesn't seem to know she's there half the time. It's so out of the blue. That's why I feel like cutting her off is maybe, like, I feel like there could have been a conversation.
I agree.
Now for the update. He said he swears that he is absolutely not having an affair. He only mentioned Ari coming to the party because he noticed I hadn't been speaking to her for a while, and that out of the whole group, her and I seemed the closest. He also apologized and said he did overreact about me cutting her off, but it was because he honestly didn't think it was that serious. He also mentioned that he didn't want to make a scene at the bar because it was packed, and he really didn't think it was that big of an issue, even though it seemed awkward. I asked him how he'd feel if one of the guys did it to me, and he said it'd be weird for sure. I asked about them always buddying up for smoking and D&D. He said he doesn't really notice them having more one-on-one time than anyone else. He said that he wished he didn't dismiss my issues right away and gave what felt like a genuine apology. It's good. Mitchell also suggested that I speak to Ari and tell her how her behavior made me feel. Communication.
Here we go.
So I messaged Derek and said I wanted to come over and hang with Ari. So that's where I'm going in a few hours. literally shorting my pants as I'm not one for confrontation. So I'm hoping it will go well. And there is an update, so we're about to find out if it went well. Update 2. Last night, I went over to Ari's house to talk to her. When I got there, Ari was out, but Derek and the rest of the boys were home. Derek told me that Ari was out with her mom and would be back soon. I sat and had a beer with the boys. I apologized to them for being a crappy friend and for not seeing them for so long. Cole, Ari's F-buddy who has feelings for her but she doesn't reciprocate, asked me what was keeping me so busy. Honestly, I know he saw the aforementioned olive sucking and knew I had seen it, so I figured he wanted me to come clean, and I did. I told the guys everything that happened, from the tarot reading to the olives, and everything I started to think back on when having this revelation. Dalton started laughing at me. Derek put his face in his hands and said, "Oh my God." And Cole said, "What the F are you talking about?" Honestly, I was super confused by their mixed reactions and wanted to just leave. I said, "I know you saw her and Mitchell in the bar for Jack's birthday. Tell me that wasn't what I saw." And Cole said, "It wasn't like that. Ari isn't after Mitchell." I just got up and went to Ari's room to wait. I was hurt they just defended Ari and didn't try to hear me out. I scrolled through some responses on the post until I heard Ari get home about 20 minutes later. My stomach was in knots and I wanted to cry, realizing that Ari and Mitchell could have been fooling around behind my back this whole time. Ari was one of my best friends and things were so solid with Mitchell and I. Ari came into the room and sat next to me on the bed. Ari almost immediately folded and said, "I know you're mad at me. The boys told me. I swear I'm not into Mitchell. It's not like that." So I asked her to explain what the F the reading and the olives and everything else was about. She just started to cry. It went from sadness to anger. I yelled at her to answer me. This is when crap got crazy.
Oh, man.
I felt really weird this past year or so. I'm just not into men. When we're with the guys, it just feels so natural. I don't know if I love men or something, but I realized with Cole that it's just not for me. She went on for a little longer about more personal things and even mentioned that she told the guys and was going to tell me, but she thought one of the guys told me she was, and I was mad at her about that. And that's why I ghosted her for 6 months.
6 months.
But that still didn't explain why she was being seductive towards Mitchell and the tarot cards.
Oh.
She claimed that when she read my cards, she read straight from the instructions in the box. So there's that. And that she was not meaning to be schmexy when she ate the olives. She was just wasted and wanted them. By the way, we want you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or your favorite podcast app and search up OK Storytime. I sat in silence. I was so confused. How could I be so horribly wrong? Then Ari reached over and grabbed my hand. "I'd never do something like that to you." I said, "I can't believe you think I'd be mad that you are gay." She said Cole was mostly hurt because Ari was into his sister. They'd been talking and that was what brought clarity into Ari's mind about not liking boys. So we have it, y'all. Anticlimactic AF, but I'm so glad my husband isn't cheating on me. At least with Ari. Some of you almost had me convinced, though. LOL. But that is the end of that story.
My husband is in a state of psychosis, and it's ruining our marriage.
That sounds very bad.
We have a trigger warning for emotional abuse. My husband and I have been married for 6 years with no children. But things have been rocky since the pandemic, especially for the past year. I think we both slid into pretty deep depression because it changed our lives drastically. By the way, this comes from Difficult Hen 3633. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. My husband went from a normal office job to working remotely full-time. I kept my job in a kitchen, but burned out badly by the end of 2020, and now work part-time as an adjunct at a culinary school. Before the pandemic, we were putting the pieces in place to start a family, but now that is out of the question. When I met my husband, he was semi-religious. We both grew up Catholic, but he went to Catholic school and was much more involved than I was. He said he enjoyed going to Mass and found peace in it. I was honest with him that while I think there may be a God, I had no interest in practicing or going to church. He stopped going to Mass shortly after we met. We had a full Catholic wedding with premarital spiritual counseling, but I tried to be honest that it wasn't doing anything for me. Neither one of us attended Mass again since our wedding. He just didn't seem to care that much. We had talks about faith and spirituality since then, and he always seemed to respect my point of view. In general, I believe in science, intellect, and human connection. I believe in love and doing right by people and taking care of your loved ones. That's all the religion I need. He agreed with what I was saying, but believed God was more involved in all of those things than I did. We respected each other's point of view. In late 2020, my husband began to take Adderall to help with his ADHD. Previously, he had been controlling it with clean diet and exercise, but struggled during the pandemic and became isolated and stopped working out. I supported this decision. Unbeknownst to me, he had begun increasing his dosage over the next few years and stopped talking to me about it when I asked. He said it was his body. In January of 2021, he was very involved in the GameStop situation.
Yes.
He has always been interested in retail investing. He told me he bought about $20K in shares with money from his portfolio and is holding those shares to this day. I don't care about that money, but I think he has made some really poor decisions since then. He took a large position on Bed Bath & Beyond last year, which is now worthless.
Right, because they
Closed.
went out of business.
And he purchased 4K NFT that is also pretty much worthless. We don't live paycheck to paycheck, but don't really have money to throw around either. Our house is old and needs costly repairs. Since the GameStop saga, he has been a very different person. All he cares about is stocks and money, and our marriage has fallen apart. When I try to talk to him, he blames me because I only work part-time and he has to work at a job he hates, but he says he does it for me.
Oh my God, everyone stop the presses. This guy has a job he doesn't like.
I noticed last year that he had been funneling money from our joint account into his portfolio. In the past 2 years, it has been $15K when we only agreed on $200 a month. When I asked him about money, he blows up and says it's his money and that I don't have a right to talk because I only bring in about $40 to $50K a year. Everything came to a head in the past 6 months. In July, his father passed away very suddenly, leaving his mother alone. My husband is an only child, and we live about an hour away from my mother-in-law. Over the next 6 months, my husband dealt with his grief by getting high and skipping his Adderall on the weekends, essentially leaving him in a coma on the couch. When I would ask him to spend time with me, he would get mad because he's tired from work. He said he essentially works 2 jobs. One is his regular remote job, and the other is the time he spends researching stocks. Throughout December of 2023, his mother started to decline very rapidly. We eventually took her to the ER and learned that she had very aggressive terminal brain cancer. Her prognosis with treatment was still only about 6 months. And in the past few days, she has refused treatment. She has about 1 to 3 months now, but could go at any time. My husband is power of attorney and took a leave of absence from work to be with her. The past month has been very difficult. At first, I was going to the hospital with him almost every day. After a couple weeks, he got very paranoid when he heard me talking on the phone to my mother and would hang up when he walked up to me. Later that night, he said he was suspicious and thought I was only hanging around so much so that I could get to his mother's money. Ridiculous. I stopped going to the hospital with him for the next week, but one night he came home pathetic and sobbing and asked me to go because he thought she was near the end. She was the same as she had been the previous week. The past couple of weeks have been a cycle of us avoiding each other, with short breaks where he will scream at me for something or another. I try to remain as calm as I can, but eventually I will lock myself in our bedroom. Occasionally, he will try to have an actual conversation with me and apologize for saying terrible things, that I'm wretched, valueless, and all I do is eat. He said he wanted to talk to a priest and get back to his faith. I said I supported that, but that he needs professional mental health help as well, but he said he didn't have time for both. In the past few days, it has gotten so much worse than I could have ever predicted. He says he felt a shift in the world a few days ago and has let the spirit in. He has been commenting on Twitter that he believes the world is in its 4th turning and that Donald Trump will usher in the second coming of Christ.
I found the psychosis.
There it is, folks. He hates Trump, but he thinks it is a foretold or whatever. He has also told me that he thinks Ryan Cohen, CEO of GameStop, is literally Jesus.
So he's back already? Okay.
So wait, I thought he was coming back from Trump.
I think clearly this
He's
is an
back
acute
already.
mental health breakdown that needs serious attention.
The first time he said it, I brushed it off because it was such lunacy, but he has repeated it earnestly. He thinks he is part of a global movement to defeat evil via the stock market and GameStop shares. I'm not kidding. He said, I need to admit my faults because only Christ and Ryan Cohen walk the earth without sin. I feel stupider just for typing that. At this point, I've alerted his uncle and cousins because I am helpless here. They are trying to talk to him and have been very supportive. I moved a bulk of our joint account into a private account to protect it. When I came home from work tonight, he was very nice to me and had dinner waiting. I sat down to eat and he announced that he thought we should pursue counseling through the church. I said no, and that I wasn't interested in spirituality or going back to faith. I asked about seeing a professional, and he said he would only consider it if I would open myself up to the idea of religion. I said no, and that it was my bottom line. He said my life would be meaningless without God, and that I was in the wrong for not being open to it. He kept asking me why I wouldn't consider it, but when I answered that I didn't believe in it, he would mock me and say he didn't listen to my answer. I just got up and locked myself in our bedroom. I don't want to leave my house, but I don't see how much more I can take. We have an update.
Yeah, I think it should be over. I think from the very beginning, you being like, I don't believe in religion, and him having been very religious, and then he stops going to mass or whatever.
Well, they both grew up religious.
Yeah, but I just think that was his telltale sign. It's like I think he just changed that to placate, and then now he's rediscovered it, and it's like, because when you're dealing with somebody who's like, yeah, your immortal soul will be forever damned. Like, it's like they're not really going to relent on the belief that they want to, like, save you. Because then, like, it's a huge
they
deal.
truly believe it.
So, yeah. And then that combined with everything else, combined with the fact that he stole $10,000 from your joint account. He doesn't respect that you make money, working part-time. And you're, at this point, communication style is lock myself in the bedroom when we communicate and don't agree.
Well, not even that. I feel like,
over.
too, like, she does try to communicate for a while, and then he just berates her and mocks her so much that she's like, I'm over it. I'm going to the bedroom now.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
she was giving it a try. I left. Things only got worse from where I left the original post. My husband had slightly eased on some of his delusional thinking, but started talking about everything I had done to contribute to the demise of our marriage. This included going back to when we were dating and rewriting the narrative. He said he has always been the breadwinner, when in reality, he moved into my apartment when we were dating, and we split the bills 50-50 until we were married. When he got paid on Monday, he transferred his entire check into his private account. When I asked him about it, he said, I'm not being a wife to him, so he shouldn't have to be a husband to me. I asked if that's how he wanted things to go. And he said no, and that he would transfer the money back, but it would take a few days because he had moved a majority into his portfolio. I made the decision to remove the remainder of the balance of our joint account into my private account to protect it, and he took that surprisingly well. 2 days later, we got into an argument because, out of nowhere, he said he would understand if I wanted to leave. I said, fine, you can keep your portfolio, but I want the house. From my limited understanding of his investments, this would be a pretty equal distribution of our assets. He became furious and said I had no right to touch his portfolio, and that it was his money in the first place. He said he had been providing for me and that I would have nothing without him. He started screaming and picked up my laptop and cell phone, stating that he purchased those too, and started running towards the back door. I followed him as he ran outside barefoot with my things, and I threatened to harm his cat. I would never, ever harm a cat, but I panicked and said the first thing I could think of to get him to stop. My phone was my only way to call for help, and my laptop has all my work on it. It worked, and he started walking back towards the house, but wouldn't hand me back my things. I got inside and locked him out and saw he had left his phone. I dialed 911 and told him to leave my things outside and step back or I would call. He did leave my things, and I got them back and let him back in, thinking he would have cooled down. He didn't, and continued to scream at me until I called my sister to come over. I started to pack, and he followed me, yelling. 10 minutes later, my sister pulled up, and he ran outside to talk to her. She just listened quietly until I came out, and we went to her house. I've been here for 3 days, and I already feel better. I'm sleeping better, and I've gotten a lot of work done that I haven't been able to do at home because all the drama had left me feeling brainless. I blocked my husband's number, but forgot to block him on social media. He sent me about 20 messages that either accuse me of stealing his money, cheating, or they are apologies asking me to face my faults and behavior. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and search up OK Storytime. He has also sent my sister's fiance, dozens of texts in the middle of the night explaining his side of the story. My sister's fiance went with me back to the house to get more of my things, and my husband was there but didn't try to say anything and left. He sent me a message saying he had a counseling session and asked me to wait for him to work through something. I can wait for him if he really does get help, but I'm very angry that I had to leave. My mother-in-law's house is sitting empty, and my husband could very easily stay there and let me stay home. He is on a leave of absence from work and doesn't have to drive anywhere, but I do. I will be even angrier if I have to get an apartment while he has 2 houses, and I have to figure this out on my own. I can do it, but I think it would be the crap cherry on the top of a turd sundae. I want to reiterate that no cats were harmed in the making of this Reddit post, and I apologize for even evoking their innocent name.
Yeah, I don't think I'd wait, sister. I would just start moving on and getting my own help.
Oh. My friend's husband tried to ditch her after surgery, so I had to step in.
And ditch him back.
I apologize if the title is a little misleading. It's not as bad as it makes it seem, but still pretty terrible. My friend has an unreliable partner who is now her husband. Tough. They've had problems regarding his insensitivity and unreliability. By the way, this comes from Dazzling Brush 9005. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, basically, her husband doesn't want to do anything that inconveniences his comfort and fun. So if it means thinking about other people, namely her, and having to do something instead of, say, playing with his band or watching TV, he doesn't want to do it. Well, my friend is having surgery on Friday, a pretty serious surgery that will incapacitate her for about 8 weeks. I told her I would be there on the day of and hang out until she was out of surgery. It's going to be a long day, but I promised her I'd be there. Her husband is going to be taking her in and all that. Her and I had a discussion over the weekend about his ability to step up to the plate and take care of her while she is recovering. She will need help with walking and managing her meds so she can stay ahead of the pain. I told her I did not trust him at all to be there for her and that I would be texting him often to make sure he's doing his job. She was all, no, he's gonna step up to the plate. I trust him. At first, she hadn't and had planned to make meals for herself so he could heat them up for her and clean the house for him. Then yesterday, she told me she wasn't going to do any of that and she's going to trust he will take care of her. Ooh, this seems like a recipe for disaster.
I'm worried.
He just asked me if I would take care of her the day after surgery so he could go hang out with friends.
Oh my god.
The day after?
Oh my god.
The first day recovering, and he's already ready to bounce. I thought about it, fuming, and concluded that no, I would not do that for him. A, he promised her he would take care of her. B, I don't want to set a precedent that he'll just call on me when he wants to ditch her, because I can see that happening very easily. And C, if he told her now what he was planning, it would have caused a fight between them 2 days before her surgery, and she's already anxious about that. I didn't want to add to it. If this was week 2 and he needed a break, I totally get it and would be over there, but this is day 1. Now the question is, do I tell her about this? Not now, obviously, but when she's well enough to receive it. Yes. 100%. Yes.
100%.
Oh my goodness. Receipts. Show the receipts.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is a text conversation.
Even if it's not, I feel like she knows that he's unreliable enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is an update, but not right before her surgery, but
No.
you know,
After she's healing for a
Yeah.
while. I feel like you can still do it in that 8 weeks,
Mhm.
though.
Yeah, I agree. Cause she'll feel it. She'll see
Yeah.
him not showing up.
Exactly.
Update. Turns out I didn't have to tell her. He told on himself.
Oh my god!
I don't even know why I would, I don't know why I didn't see that coming.
Genuinely same.
Why would he care? Why would he think
He's
he's
not
doing the wrong
thinking
thing?
about her.
No. I just got a message from her about it. Let's see how this goes. Keep y'all updated. And there is an update right here. Well, he told her that he asked me to, as he put it, babysit her. You just told your wife that you asked someone else to babysit her? She is upset, but mostly I think she's just tired and disappointed in him. I asked her if he told her to test the waters and see if he could just leave while she was sleeping. She said yes, because he said, "You'll just be sleeping, right?" She said nothing, and finally he worked it out himself that since it was her first day home, he should stay with her. I told her when she's better, she has decisions to make. She said in his mind, he thinks if he can get someone to babysit her and do the fun thing, then in his mind, it's a win-win. I told her he's a selfish prick. And there are some relevant comments. Oh, man. I assume those relevant comments are just going to be answering the should I tell her, which
I
it doesn't
hope
even
so.
doesn't even matter anymore because
No.
he's already told.
We should have guessed that he was gonna tell on himself,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the fact that he just fully was like, "Yeah, I really think like your friend should babysit you."
Yeah.
Babysit?
Baby? You just called your wife a baby?
She's having major surgery.
Yeah.
She'd have a major surgery.
That's insane. Yeah, divorce. That's it. And he's consistently shown a pattern of not showing up, and then when she needs him most, he still can't do it.
Yeah, because it's not like it was like, "Oh, I'm having surgery and now he's not showing up." It's like,
Yeah.
girl, he hasn't been.
Never. Relevant comments. Common one says, yes, tell her neutrally, as if it's not an issue. This is how I'd play it. Hey, your
Oh.
husband let me know he was looking for help on day 2, and I'm sorry I'm not free, but if you are really desperate, you can call me after X time. You can do her a favor after he's failed. He gets no favors. Consider being free that day when she calls, because you know he's almost certainly going to bail on her anyway. Maybe over meal prep a bit so you can leave a few things in her freezer, but only after he's failed to feed her. Let him fail first, then help her. Never, ever cover for him in advance. Be luckily able to help when he doesn't perform. She has to feel his failure first. Unfortunately, nothing but that anxiety and suffering is going to teach her. OP says, good idea, letting him fail first, and he will. I am seriously wondering if he will find a way to leave her on Saturday. And his friend knows his wife is having surgery. Why would you ask if he could come out knowing that? What the heck? Comment 2. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, that's very true too.
But also, I can't imagine this guy has very good friends.
I also can't imagine that, considering he doesn't really care about his wife, that he's
Yeah.
out here being like, and the wife's got surgery.
Oh, the wife's got really serious
Right.
surgery. I should be home, but I'm not.
I would guess they don't know.
Yeah, or he's just saying like, oh yeah, she's sick.
Yeah.
She's just at home sleeping.
A
Yeah.
minor procedure.
Yeah. Comment 2 says, absolutely let her know that her husband didn't want to do even this little bit for her. She probably already knows though. OP says she does know. I think she's hoping for the best, and yeah, she does make excuses for him and will even say she is making excuses for him while doing it. I think in her mind she is thinking that surely he wouldn't ditch her so soon, or wouldn't do it while she's recovering from something that requires a lot of help. I told her when she was making plans to make meals for herself that she really had to think long and hard about how much prep work she's doing for herself, because she knows how unreliable and selfish she is. I'm not entirely sure what made her change her mind about that. I think she was offended when I told her I had absolutely no faith in him at all to step up, and now here we are. Why did OP's friend marry that guy? OP says I questioned her when she did based on the problems they were already having for this kind of behavior. I think she fell into the trap of marrying his potential and not who he really is. Comment 3 says I wouldn't tell her. She doesn't need the worry before her surgery. Tell her husband, no, you can't help on day one, and he'll have to manage himself and see what happens from there. Either he manages and things go well, or he doesn't and your friend finds out how important she is to her husband in the scheme of things. Honestly, this feels like a moment where the future of their relationship could go two ways, so I would try to stay out of it as much as possible. And OP says she has talked about leaving him over the past several months since his selfishness is epic, and he never takes responsibility for his actions when he's called out on it. He'll pull the "I don't like your tone" card when she tries to talk to him and makes it about that. If I had a nickel for every time she's called me after an argument and asked, am I crazy? Because he gaslit her in some way. I definitely don't want to tell her now, not before surgery, though I do wonder if he will find another way to go. Maybe ask another friend of hers. He told me in the text he hadn't talked to her about it, that he was waiting to see what I'd say first. And does OP's friend and her husband have kids? OP says, the sad thing is he does have a child with his previous wife, and he has a terrible relationship with his kid because he never took an active interest in him. It is always wild to me when people get into relationships with people who have kids that they don't care about.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me.
And then to be shocked
Yeah.
that he's like inconsiderate about
Yeah.
you. He's not even taking care of his kid.
Yeah, his own kid. And, maybe there's people out there who are like, well, I don't want kids, so, I don't really need him to be a good father. But it's like,
it's
that
still
shows up,
reflective
yeah.
on himself.
yeah, that shows up everywhere. We've read a couple stories where partner, like the OPs, will tell us, oh, yeah, my partner, he doesn't have a great relationship with his child. I'm like, whoa, blazing red flag. His kid is an adult now and wants nothing to do with him. Maybe we should look into that, OP's friend. LOL, no, she doesn't want kids. And he already has one from a previous marriage, which is probably in her mind where she's
Yeah.
like, oh, it doesn't matter because I don't want kids anyway.
Right. He's never going to have to raise a kid with me.
Yeah. Is it possible for the husband to get therapy? OP says. Also, he refuses to get therapy. And there is a third update.
Oh my God.
I hope it's my friend had her surgery, it went well, and she's getting a divorce.
I hope it's my friend had a surgery. It went well. Her husband took care of her, but she's still getting a divorce.
She's still divorcing him because of all the times that he didn't show up.
Like, I hope maybe he was
Yeah.
actually there, the bare minimum.
Yeah. Update 3, 5 days later. Hello, the surgery went well. Yay.
Yay.
So I will start there. It was a long day and she didn't get home until after midnight.
Oh, wow.
She told me her husband was doing a great job when I checked in on her on Saturday. And when I checked in on Sunday, he was still holding strong. And then came Sunday evening. She sent me a message that his care was slipping, but not to message him about it. However, he's working from home right now, which was up in the air last week. Hopefully, he'll do that the rest of the week. I told her on Friday that if she asks me for something, to come over, do something for her, etc., I'll do it. But not if he asks. I will not bail him out. She agreed with me on that. He has a class on Wednesday evening that he teaches. So she asked me if I could come over while he's gone. I'll get even more intel then, I am sure. She did say he was pretty shaken on Saturday when he saw how weak she was and how difficult it is for her to move around. Hopefully he'll stay the course, but who knows? Thank you for all who commented on my last post. I told her about it, and she got a punt out of it. By the way, you should tell everyone that you know about the full episode stories just like this that we have on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. Just search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Any final thoughts?
I really wanted him to slip up.
Well, yeah, so far we've gotten your 2 out of 3.
This is true.
Yeah.
It's still on its way.
It could still be on its way to your 3 out of 3.
Like, I don't want to say that I hope, like, I know I was like, I hope he slips up, but like, I don't hope for that because that affects her.
Yeah.
But I do hope that she realizes.
Yeah,
so.
that's all I want. I want her to
all
get the
we
help that she
need.
needs and also realize that this guy sucks. I'll say that he did try to float the idea to her on Wednesday night of going out because she'd been sleeping anyway. She told him that I refused to babysit her because I felt it was inappropriate for him to bail on her after her surgery. He shrugged. She told him she agreed with me and that he has a history of not being there when she needs him and bailing when things get hard, so this was an opportunity for him to step up to the plate. We shall see what happens. And comment 1, she sent me a message that his care was slipping, but not to message him about it. Yada yada. I hope friend doesn't cave under the notion, well, he did more than I expected. OP says, same. Their entire relationship has been incredibly imbalanced. He can't even be bothered to remember her birthday?
What?
Oh my gosh. And as of this year, be there for it. Comment 2 says she needs to get out of that relationship while she still can. It's not going to get any better. OP says, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon or ever.
No.
I've known her for over 10 years and she has talked about leaving him for lesser infractions and it still hasn't happened. I don't believe she will until she does, you know what I mean? Comment 3 says, when he's constantly negotiating the least amount of effort that she will accept, it speaks volumes to his lack of quality. Comment 4 says, it's so unfair. His refusal to care for her body when in such a vulnerable state is a refusal to care for her heart as well. Nobody's heart should be breaking when their body is in a fight to recover. Would he accept this from her if the tides were reversed? I think not. And that is the end of the story.
My husband made a scene at my brother's barbecue, but blames me for everything.
Well, I blame you.
I, 34 female, and my husband, 35 male, have just gone through the biggest fight we ever had, and it seems like divorce is inevitable. We've been together for 7 years and married for 2. No kids yet, but I recently found out I am pregnant, and it's so early in the pregnancy that only my mom, 58 female, knows as of now. By the way, this comes from user SpecialDoor9312 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, about 2 months ago, everything was fine in our relationship. We live in Toronto in a condo, and we just got a puppy a couple of weeks ago. We obviously had the usual spats like most couples here and there, but nothing unmanageable. Recently, my husband has got into his head that we should move to Calgary. Due to its cheaper cost of living and the rising expenses in Toronto, it was worth considering. I was not and still am not 100% sold because one thing my husband refuses to consider in this decision is that we have a lot of family here in Toronto. If anything were to happen, I know we have support from them, and out there we'd be on our own. More info, we are very close with my family. My mom, brother, 32 male, and sister-in-law, 27 female, live about 20 minutes away, and we see them and my extended family very often. We are not so close with his family. He has no communication with his sisters and only tolerates his parents. His parents never really accepted me because of my religion, and despite trying with them several times, it came to the point where only he communicates with them. I try to push him to mend those relationships because I think he needs it. His family kind of fell apart when he was 17, and he seems to really like being around family, especially when he's with mine. So I figured with my pregnancy, maybe we can start from scratch with his side of the family and building that relationship again. He was actually on board with my messaging his sisters and letting them know I was pregnant. Here's the problem. On Saturday, my brother had a barbecue and we and our new puppy went over. About a week before the barbecue, my husband told my mom about Calgary. My mom was not a fan as she didn't think it was a good idea for us. I wasn't thrilled either because we have nothing planned and I felt there was no need in mentioning it yet as we didn't even know when and if we were going to go. During the barbecue, I asked my husband not to mention it because I saw how upset it made my mom and I wanted to have a good time. He promised me he would not. I see you. Now a bit more background. My brother got married last year and has his reception this year in May after his wife got her visa to come to Canada. My mom helped with the finances for both events. My brother feels like it's not fair that he got a wedding and reception and I didn't get either. Okay. We got married in City Hall and didn't do a reception and got our condo instead. Okay, so did the condo come from the parents? Did the condo come from them? Are they saying we used the money we would have spent on a large wedding
On a condo?
to get the condo? I
Maybe.
think that's what they're saying. So during the barbecue, we were talking and my brother said we should think about it and throw a little party. To be honest, I would consider it now, but my brother doesn't know I'm pregnant and I don't feel like I want to do that now. I'd rather focus on our future with the baby. During this conversation, when my brother said, think about it, my husband says in front of everybody, F that, I don't want to feed those people. We're going to Calgary. Oh.
What?
Oh, no.
Who does that?
Husband, that is not keeping things low key. I was very upset at this because firstly, he wasn't supposed to mention Calgary, and second, the way he said it was so rude.
Yeah.
My husband noticed my mood changed and asked me what was wrong. When I told him privately why I was upset, he got mad at me for my feelings and decided he wanted to leave the barbecue.
Opie's like, hey, that was was a lot, and we said that we weren't going to talk about Calgary. He's like, this is ridiculous.
He's like,
I can't see anything anymore.
What? One guy says one thing about moving to Calgary, and now he's the bad guy. I'm leaving
I'm out
you
of here.
here.
You'll never see me at another barbecue again.
Ever. Keep in mind, we came in one vehicle and we had the puppy with us and all his stuff. The barbecue was pretty much done, so really we were going to leave soon anyway. But my husband made a production of looking for car keys and making a grand exit. When he couldn't find the keys, he kept rudely asking me to give him the effing keys.
Oh my God, I hate that.
We were by the front door and I told him to go outside and calm down, give me a few minutes to pack up the puppy, and we could leave together. But he was adamant. When I didn't give him the keys, he raised his voice and started swearing more. And that's when my brother came to see the commotion.
This is so inappropriate.
Yeah.
And in any relationship, you should never be raising your voice and swearing at your partner to get a point across. But absolutely, you should not be doing it in public.
Yeah. No, and I know people who have they'll weaponize a crowd, or they'll weaponize a moment like this so that it just makes the other person go okay, fine. Just be quiet.
Despicable.
And it's
You're playing a toddler tantrum.
Honestly, it's despicable behavior. So he got into a verbal argument with my brother, and my sister-in-law dragged my brother away, but words were still exchanged. I was crying at this point because he's never been this way in front of my family. I gave him the keys and he ran to the car. I went after him to get him to calm down and wait for me, but he drove off while I was standing right there. The neighbors saw it, and it was such a commotion. I know in hindsight I should have just given him the keys, but in the moment I really didn't think along those lines, and I was worried about how it would look that he just drove off and left me and our puppy behind, and I'd have to ask one of them for a ride home. When I tried to call him on the drive, he said it was all my fault that I caused his character to be assassinated in front of my family. My maternal grandparents live with my mom and heard the yelling too, and that I don't respect him and I should have just obeyed him. When I got dropped off, my mom was afraid to let me be alone with him, but I later told her I'd be okay and thought we could talk it out. In trying to talk, he continued to say it was all my fault, but I felt that he was to blame too, as he could have just left and called an Uber or gone for a walk instead of raising his voice and bringing unwanted attention. I didn't like that he didn't consider for 1 second how his pregnant wife and puppy were going to get home. Talking led to more fighting and airing a lot of dirty laundry. All the repressed feeling and resent bubbled over, and things from past fights surfaced. This back and forth arguing and talking has been going on for the past 2 days. We both haven't gone into work and are questioning if we should be together.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yikes.
Makes sense. Good. You should be questioning, because the fact that he, again, said, obey, I want you to obey me, screamed in front at you in front at a pregnant woman in front of her family.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Never a good look.
Just despicable. This is not a relationship that you should have to put up with, especially when you're about to have a kid. You want a partner that is going to be your equal, not your lord.
I don't know if divorce is the answer here.
It is.
But what I'm really wondering is if he's right. Was it my fault and I was being disrespectful?
Oh, she's been so gaslit.
Do we try to reconcile or let this relationship go?
Let it go.
Any insight is appreciated, and thank you in advance.
Let it go. It's not your fault. You're being gaslit.
I would say 7 years and a kid on the way. I don't know.
I don't think
his behavior is unacceptable.
I don't think
by
it's a
no
relationship
means
that can be
is
salvaged.
his behavior okay. But I think a talk can be had of hey, so what the hell's happening with you right now? I guess, well, they've been doing it for 2 days. I guess I was just thinking of the one moment. I guess they've just been having dirty laundry for 2 days.
Yeah. The thing is,
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't
you
think
say
this
stuff.
is a relationship that you can salvage. Obviously, a conversation should always be had before any big decisions like divorce happen, especially with a kid or a kid on the way. But she's been trying to have these conversations, and he's been putting everything on her, and just the raising of the voice and the swearing, and now he's trying to take her to Calgary, which is so far away from her family.
Yeah.
That's all very worrying to
And
me.
I think his family's out there. My gut is being there's another reason why he needs to move to Calgary and he won't say it.
Yeah.
But either way, it's now that they've gone through this this whole process of no one has stepped down, and it's just gotten worse and worse over the last couple of days to the point where they're not going to work. They're they're just I don't even know why we're doing this. I think I hate you.
Yeah.
That's where they're at right now.
Yeah.
Oof, pretty bad. Well, here come the comments. To whom it may concern says, moving away from your family with your husband sounds dangerous. Ooh, that's a thought. His verbal abuse and misogyny will likely escalate. He demands you obey him. Your marriage is not a partnership. He expects you to be subservient. This is not a relationship to bring a child into. Adventurous Sand 6711 replies, how is any of this your fault? Your husband explodes out of the blue, throws a tantrum, screams at you, and leaves you behind, and it's your fault for wanting to go together? His emotional regulation is lacking in this instance. A simple whatever nod or nah, we have other priorities, or even, imagine this, letting you handle your family is all it would have taken. My concern is the statement that he wouldn't normally act this way in front of your family. Does that mean he acts this way at home? PM Hidden Scrolls says, you got lots of good relationship advice already, but as someone who moved away from Calgary recently, it's incredibly hard to find a job and any type of housing there right now. Our healthcare in Alberta as a whole is collapsing, and it's impossible to find a new family doctor for your pregnancy, and there are no signs of it getting any better, only worse. I would encourage you to consider moving to Calgary very carefully if you don't leave this man. Update. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for everything that you have said. I've literally read every single comment and thought I should provide more info. Let me apologize for the title. It should say husband blew up at a barbecue. Neither of us drink. This happened while sober. Some people are wondering if we see my family too much, and it might be a lot for my husband to handle. We see them maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, typically on the weekend. Often it's only a drop in to say hello or grab some food. More often I drop in on my own. Some people think my family might be too involved in our relationship. My husband has often said that my family has done more for him than any of his family has. And in fact, when he first had the idea of moving to Calgary, he suggested that we tell my mom right away and move her out there with us. My husband is willing to have my mom move in with us to assist with childcare. Also, my extended family has experienced a lot and are very knowledgeable when it comes to life lessons like buying a home. And it's always my husband's idea to seek them out and ask for their advice before we do something. My husband knows I'm pregnant, as we have been trying for a few months. He was the first person I told, and my mother was the second. Yes, I did say that he's never blown up like that in front of my family before, but he has in front of me many times.
That's unacceptable.
He's done.
It's
It's over. Yeah, done.
And the fact that he's probably made you feel bad for these blowups and put the blame on you. If your reaction to the blow up in front of your family is any evidence, because it's made you think that you are to blame for all of his anger and ire, and it only took your parent and your parents and your family's reaction of being like, whoa, that's unacceptable, for you to be like, wait, oh, is that not okay?
Yeah. Sometimes our arguments go to the point where he says that he's going to leave or start shouting at me angrily. I'm not going to say I'm completely blameless, as I do shout back, but at the end of most of them, I end up crying, apologizing, and then we're good again. For those wondering about culture being at play, we are both first-generation North American. He was born in the U.S. and I was born in Canada. He's a dual citizen. We are both of South Asian descent, but come from different religious backgrounds. Neither of us is particularly religious, but we respect that our parents are. We have a second update. We have been talking and arguing on and off since all of this has gone on, and I even showed him a lot of the comments. He thinks the comments are not worth putting stock into because everyone who commented was not there in the situation. Yeah.
Of course he doesn't want you to put stock into the comments that are disagreeing with him.
I asked him to read my post and tell me if I made an error in recounting what happened, but he didn't find one and felt that I was accurate. I suggested that we do counseling, as I suspect that this blow up has some roots in his anger issues, which have been unresolved since his family sort of fell apart. He goes back and forth agreeing to do counseling and then saying that he doesn't want to. He thinks that I need to be the first to apologize and beg for his forgiveness, and then he can apologize for the subsequent things that he did after. When he says obey, he means it in the traditional sense where women in the relationship are subservient to their husband.
He's like, no, babe, you didn't understand. When I say obey, I mean I want you to obey me.
Yeah, he's like, no.
You
I think we've had a mix-up. When I say obey, I mean it in the worst way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
For those who wondered about our financial situation, it is not good. He lost his job 2 months ago and has put in to return to his former place of employment. He's still going through the process, as it takes time even to be rehired. During this time, he has been home while I continue to work. He had received a huge retro pay before all of this and promised to buy me a ring with that money. When he lost his job, the smart thing to do was use that money to help ensure we could get by, and that's what we've been doing. But but that also meant my ring got put on the back burner. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't annoyed by that because my ring has always been on the back burner, but I also know that the smart thing was to hold on to that money to get us by. During our arguments, I was finally able to express how I've been feeling in our relationship. I let him know that for the last 7 years, I felt like he was very dismissive and devalued how I felt about anything. Whether the issue be big or small, anytime I expressed my feelings towards something, I was often met with comments like, I don't want to hear it, or I was just brushed off. So for the course of our relationship, I've often had to push down my feelings so that it wouldn't cause a rift between us. And these last few days, all of that bubbled over. He felt that I was explaining all of this out of the blue and under the influence of my mother. I tried to explain that it feels out of the blue for him because each time I tried to express myself in the past, he shut me down. So now for him, it's the first time. He believes I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, that the trivial things he does or certain behaviors he exhibits are not as bad as things could be. For example, when I say he has some anger and attitude issues to work out, his reply is that I should be grateful that it's only that minor and that he's not actually being physically abusive. Number 15.
He's
Let me
like,
get that
"Babe,"
number
she's like, hey, I
15.
don't appreciate that you're like, yelling at me and swearing at me. He's like, well, you should be grateful that I'm not hitting you.
Yeah, so you're going to get a punch in the
welcome.
nose, a hook to the jaw, you're going to get loaded into the trebuchet that's inside a trebuchet,
And you're in a garbage bag.
And we're giving you the number 14,
Yep,
which is
number
now
14.
the 15, because you got to eat a couple of fists before you get put in the trebuchet. Wow. Anyway.
Despicable.
This guy's, just when you think he couldn't get worse. Wow. Okay, I'm not even going to read that. He's just a trash man.
Ooh.
I don't think that I think he's a complete idiot. I'm not saying that anyone else has it easy. Of course not. But problems in our relationship that matter to me should be considered important too. He asked me to make a list of the issues I have with him. And with each item, he provided 1 or 2 examples where he proved otherwise. But what he doesn't seem to grasp is that it's the overall lack of effort in our marriage that bothers me. So an example of his lack of effort is that I work longer hours than he does. Also, my commute is about an hour, if not more. So during these 2 months while I'm at work and he's home, it bothers me to come home and see his lunch plate sitting on the table. I don't get why he can't pick up after himself, especially if he's home all day. He says, oh, that's a minor thing. But I think it boils down to respect. I'm the one who was at work all day and is tired when I come home, so to leave it for me makes me feel disrespected. His response to this is to show me videos of women saying they put up with their husband's minor flaws because of what he provides. It's like, actually, I'm going to cite some sources right here that are telling me that you're a liar. And there's plenty of women out there who would would drop everything to be with me despite my minor flaws.
Then go find those women. Maybe
Yeah.
they're in Calgary.
Yeah, go find yourself a nice Calgary woman, you stinky butthead.
Stinky, sticky, sticky.
Okay. To be honest, I know this is a minor flaw, and if we were
No!
sitting together, I have no issues grabbing his plate with mine when we get up from the table, but I feel like it's different when he's home and I'm working. We eventually got to the point where he started crying and said he didn't know that I thought he was such a terrible person, and he can't believe I've been miserable for the last 7 years.
He's pulling the, oh, so you think I'm a terrible mother?
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Well, yeah, and he says that we should get a divorce because I'm so unhappy. It is that.
Oh,
It is that.
You've stumbled across the right answer.
Yeah.
Good job.
Hey, he finally said something right. He also said that he tried his best with his limited means, and it saddens him that it's not enough for me.
Oh, no.
That despite his lack of knowledge, he tried to make my life easier and give me opportunities to use my knowledge and skills to help our family.
Oh, my God, you failed.
What does that mean? He's like, babe, I just knew that you had knowledge and skills about cooking and cleaning and doing all the things
And
that I
picking
don't
up the
want to
dishes.
do. Yeah.
And you just do them so much better than me.
Babe, I was teeing you up. This was an alley-oop. I was giving you the slam dunk.
You're welcome.
I was throwing you the dime.
You've been doing so
Yeah.
well. You're welcome for that.
I thought we were a team this whole time. You know, I yell at you. I'm the coach. I'm just yelling at you in a coaching capacity.
Coaches don't play.
This is where my heart starts to break for him. No! Because I know that he was at a disadvantage due to his family falling apart. He didn't get to learn certain skills or have a role model to look up to. I feel pain when he says those things because I know I'm the only person in his corner to help him. I just feel like not everyone grows up with the same opportunities as everyone else, but if you want to succeed in life, then you have to put in some effort and hard work. If you don't know something, you learn it. If you're unsure about something, find someone to ask. Eventually, we ended up at a stalemate. I said I thought counseling would benefit us, and especially him, and he says that he would only do it if I apologized to him for letting this fight go on for too long.
No.
What is wrong with this guy's a little baby?
No.
He's a little man baby.
He's
And-
trying to get the power back in the relationship because you are questioning him
Yeah.
and questioning his authority. And so he's trying to put you back down into what he perceives is your place by saying, okay, fine. If you apologize, if you admit that you're wrong,
I agree.
which you're not,
And regardless of even if all of this behavior is coming from like his family trauma,
doesn't matter.
doesn't excuse it. It
You
makes
don't have to
it
deal
what it
with
means
it.
is that
He
he's
needs to
not
deal with
ready
his
to be
family
in this
trauma.
relationship. Yeah.
Exactly.
I should have begged for his forgiveness already and been a good wife. Okay. Then and only then would he consider therapy. Well, I feel like I couldn't look myself in the eye if I did that.
Good.
I know some people thought I should have just given him the keys that day, but in the heat of the moment, that didn't happen. I feel like there's 1,000,001 things he could have done differently too, so I shouldn't be the one to apologize. And his actions after that day, due to his uncontrollable anger, are far worse than me not giving him the keys. And by the way, I'm going to give you the keys to listen to full episodes of stories just like this. All you need to do is go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of your favorite podcast apps and search OK Storytime. Boom.
Search it up. Search
Keys
it up.
passed. I passed you the keys.
Yeah.
They're in your hands. Search us up. There is a little bit left of the story here. I think before we finish it off, clearly divorce.
Divorce.
Divorce. Can we get it?
Divorce. 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 The thing is, OP, you are operating under the idea that if you had given the keys, none of this would happen. That's just not true.
That does feel like what she's saying.
Yeah, she's
I didn't
saying
even
if
pick
I
up
had
on
just
that.
done this, none of this would happen.
Yeah.
That's not true. Your husband is clearly, he's abusive. He's abusive, and he would have there would have been another fight that would have led to this.
Another set of keys.
Another set of metaphorical keys, and it would have led down to this same path. You can't do anything to avoid it because he is causing the problems.
Yeah.
And you should divorce him.
It's time for divorce. He even said it himself.
He even said it.
And he said it in the way
He
where he's
knows
like,
it.
oh, well, I guess maybe we should get a divorce because I hurt your feelings so bad. And he wanted you to go, no, babe, we don't
He's trying
need
to
to do
reverse
that.
psychology you.
Yeah,
Don't
he was
want
trying
him
to
it.
go, oh, I feel so bad. I guess we got to get a divorce now.
Don't listen to his lies. Listen to him.
All right, let's finish this. During this stalemate, he starts to say that once he leaves me, I'll have what's coming because I'll be 34 and single and alone. I won't be
Not for
able to
long.
find a man, and I'll look back and regret this. I really feel like, despite my better judgment, I tried my best to salvage whatever I could of this relationship. But if he can't give me effort to try to work on it, then we are doomed. I am seeking out counseling for myself, as I know that there's a lot for me to talk through. I don't know about the baby yet. I have my age to consider, and that I've always wanted to be a mom. I have my family to support me if I do end up being a single mom. What I want to know is at any time during all of this, should I have done something differently? Yeah, wow. And that is the end of that story.
I mean,
OP
only
is
that you
just
should have
hung up
left
on
him
that.
earlier, but you couldn't have known that.
Yeah. Yeah, a great thing to do would have been to not be in a relationship with this guy for 7 years. That would have been the best thing that you could have done. But you didn't know that at the
You didn't
time.
know that. You didn't know
There
that.
was nothing you could have done at the time to know that this is where that was going.
No.
And hopefully...
Also, 34 is not old. You are young. A lot of people don't find their partners until later in their life. Most of the show Friends is them being in their 30s and single.
Yeah. Are they in their 30s in that show?
They start in their mid-20s and then they're in their 30s, I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
My husband's parents are overstepping our boundaries, and it's straining our relationship.
Tell him to step off.
Backstory. My husband and I have been married for almost 3 years now. His parents have always been very emotional and needy when we were first married. We lived 3 hours away from them, his first time living away from home. And we saw them at least every month. By the way, this comes from Throw Away the In-Laws, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Dakota.
And Opie says, in between seeing them, they would Skype with us a few times a week, an average of an hour conversation each time, as well as call, text, and email.
Seems like a lot.
I finally told my husband that this was too much for me. He agreed, and we cut it back a little. Yeah, we cut it back to 45 minutes each call.
Yeah, exactly.
No, 50.
Incrementally.
Now, since that time, there have been little things here and there where they have clearly gone too far in their involvement. Some things include opening our mail, going through our checkbook. They said they thought it was theirs, and calling our lawyer regarding a situation they thought wasn't being handled well. These are all beside the point, but being shared so you can see they have some problems with respecting our boundaries. Real quick, you know what I want to see here? I want to see my husband do laundry. I want to see him cook a meal. I want to see him change his oil. Can he do that?
Can you change your oil?
Oh, he can't. Oh, it's because his parents did everything for him.
Might just be.
And that means you're now going to have to be the caretaker.
Uh-oh.
You're the new mommy. Guess who's buying groceries and cooking for their child?
Mama, change the oil, Mama.
No, you didn't. There's oil everywhere. How is there oil in the house?
Babe, there's oil everywhere. What do I do?
Oh, so besides that, things were doing all right until we moved 18 hours away in January to attend school. They became increasingly clingy. They came to visit for a week, less than a month after we moved, and are constantly sending us emails and texts about how sad they are. We Skype often and try to humor them with pep talks, but it's never enough. Just last week, I received a text from my father-in-law that his parental soul needs to be watered. Who's sprinkling the raindrops on that?
I guess the children. The children must
feed your parental soul.
My husband receives 2 weeks off per 6-month period. He works 40 hours a week on top of having 15 credit hours, so I really don't see him all that much. Those vacations are very important to us. He has a week off in August and in November. When his parents heard about the November week off, they booked a flight to come and stay with us for 10 days uninvited. They also invited his siblings down. In August, we are going camping with my family. Because I understand that they miss their son, I invited my in-laws as well. Next thing I know, they're inviting their relatives to join and trying to convince my husband just to camp for a few days and then leave early and spend the rest of his time in a different nearby city with them. Who's your keeper, husband? Mommy and daddy?
I mean, it's one thing to be like, we should get the family together. It's another thing to be like, hey, we're hijacking your week off.
Yep. You're going to do this and this.
Yeah, I know you have plans to spend time with your wife. Forget your wife. Come spend time with your family.
It's crazy he has siblings too. This seems like something they do with the only child. But he has other siblings.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, come up for a weekend, dude.
Yeah.
It's not even, come on.
When I heard about this, I got upset that they would overstep their invitation and try to steal him away from time with me and my family. So I put the kibosh on it and uninvited them. Needless to say, they were not too happy. Today. Dun, 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 dun. I need to watch Law & Order. When was the last time you seen a Law & Order episode?
I don't know. I've been pretty unlawful and unruly. I just want to watch the one with the guy that goes, see.
Yes. This all leads up to today. My husband received an email sent only to him saying that they couldn't wait until November. They miss him so much. So, in 2 weeks, they'll be driving their old beater car. They don't have the money to both fly 18 hours to our place. His mom will be staying 4 days and leaving, but his dad will be staying 10 days, perhaps more, if he can get more time off work. My husband showed me the email and said, you can't say no. They're coming down, and we will be treating you and your dog's name. I flipped out. I told my husband, at this point, it's not about them visiting or even staying in our small 2-bedroom apartment. It's about the lack of respect that they show for boundaries. My husband is 100% apathetic to it. All he says that my life is too short to make ripples and that we should just enjoy their company. Am I overreacting? We have an update.
I feel like your husband wants to spend time with his family.
Yeah.
And your problem lies with like, well, shouldn't I be able to spend all of that week off with my husband?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't see him enough. But you got to figure out how to see each other more when you don't have those weeks off.
Yeah. I think you both are very busy, and to preserve this relationship, something has to give, like either less school, less job, or, sacrifice this time that you have with your husband, knowing that later down the road you'll have more time with him. Hoping. Because I feel like once you get rolling in a busy schedule in a relationship, that's the vibe. That's how it's always going to be.
He's made it clear that his philosophy is life is too short to create this tension with my family over them wanting to see me.
Yeah. So, summary of previous post. Last week, my husband received an email from his dad. The email that my father-in-law and mother-in-law had decided that they were going to come and visit us for 10 days because they couldn't wait any longer to see their son. A direct quote from the email. After stating that they were visiting, is no approvals needed, no denials accepted. I was really...
Okay, now, that bothers me.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff sends me up the wall.
You are just kids. You don't know better. We got it from here.
Because it's like that kind of attitude makes me go, oh, yeah? Watch this.
Yeah.
And they go, where are you? We're in town. I go, that's crazy. I'm not.
Yeah.
Oops.
I was really angry about the situation. I felt like they were overstepping their boundaries, and my husband seemed apathetic. I gave my husband a couple of days to think about what he wanted to do, and gave myself a couple of days to cool down. And then I talked to him again. He actually was pretty receptive, and we had a good conversation. We both agreed that he would talk to his parents and discuss appropriate boundaries. We wouldn't ask them to stay in a hotel because they couldn't afford it, but would tell them that they need to respect our need for privacy and alone time, should we ask. That's happening now. He Skyped with his parents on Saturday, alone because I was out of town. He said that it went well, and they seemed like they understood. After he spoke with them, I sent them both a follow-up text that Saturday night, letting them know that during the 10 days they will be visiting us. 1, we will need to be away for 1 full day, as we had already made plans to celebrate our wedding anniversary. 2, a friend of mine will likely be dropping in from out of town and might be with us for a day or 2. 3, I asked them to leave their handguns behind. This is a personal preference of mine. 6 months ago, they both bought handguns for the first time and have decided they only feel safe when sleeping next to their pew-pews. I do not feel comfortable with that in my house, so I asked that they leave the pew-pews behind. That's wild to me. Sorry. As someone that has grown up around firearms and believes strongly in the Second Amendment, having to sleep next to them all the time? Where do you live?
It feels more like mental illness than anything.
I don't know.
Believing that that's going to keep you safer just because they're like right next to you and you sleep? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
Some people have opinions about this, but I'm like, I don't know. I understand wanting to feel safe and having access to it in case you need to do defense, but traveling with it and putting other people at harm, that's...
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think the only way that makes any sense is if you have like one surgically implanted into your skull so that when you wake up and there's an intruder right above you, you can go...
Boom.
But that doesn't work. That doesn't happen. You can't do that.
Yet. I'm working on something.
Unless I can figure something out. I've been working on some.
Honestly, wasn't trying to be antagonistic. I just wanted to be very clear with them and upfront, so there were no surprises when they arrived. I didn't want them to make conflicting plans and end up disappointed. I sent a text because I was out of the country and didn't have access to Wi-Fi and couldn't call. I didn't receive any response from them Saturday or Sunday, unusual because they were always quick at answering. Then yesterday, Monday, my husband texted me to tell me that he got a text from them saying that they loved him and missed him, but that they were not going to visit us anymore. No explanation, just that they weren't no longer coming, despite the fact that they booked their vacation time and bought a flight ticket for my mother-in-law's return home. He then asked why, and they said that they would talk to both him and me over Skype. Well, my husband has a super busy week and doesn't have the time to have another lengthy discussion, and they had planned on driving down here June 30th. So I told him I would want to talk with him to try and smooth things over before then, because at the end of the day, it would be nice for him to see them, and I don't want him to miss out on family time because of petty drama that I may or may have not caused. So I texted them immediately, Monday, and told them that I wasn't sure what was going on, but that I would love to talk with them and listen to what they had to say. I told them that I'd be back in the States today, Tuesday, and asked them to let me know a couple of times that might work to Skype. No answer. Instead, my father-in-law texts my husband as a response to my text and tells them that they will not answer any texts and will only communicate via Skype. So I played dumb and sent them another text today saying, I didn't hear back from either of you, so I think my last text probably didn't go through. Husband is busy all week. Do you guys have time to Skype with me today? A few hours later, I get a text from mother-in-law saying they will Skype when my husband is able. I responded saying, I just asked because between both of our schedules, we won't be able to Skype with you until this weekend. And if you cancel your plans because of something I said, I want you to know that I'm available to talk before them. No answer. I know they have checked their phones because they sent my husband a text after that saying they were thinking of him. It's frustrating because this is still boils to the same issue, a huge lack of appropriate communication. The one positive note is that at least my husband and I are on the same page finally. He's really embarrassed by how his parents are acting and has said that unless they have some legitimate reason their car broke down, he has nothing to say to them. By the way, you can always say something to us on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on iHeartRadio, Spotify, or Apple. And we have plenty of stories for you there. I don't think they like OP.
I don't think so either. And I wouldn't be beating around the bush with like, oh, my text didn't go through. I'd be like, hey, we're all adults here.
Yeah.
I'm the other half of the partnership your son and I share.
Yeah.
If you got something to say about us, you can say it to me.
Right here, to my face. Say it to my face. So, and now looks like they are no longer coming. I do feel guilty for causing tension between my husband and his parents. Part of me wishes I just kept my mouth shut and just gone with it, and then there would not have been any drama to deal with. Ridiculous, unnecessary drama at that.
Yeah, but it's all coming from them.
Yeah.
They are moving about this like they are in middle school.
Yeah.
Literally, like they're 13 years old.
Take you out of this, what's left, that's the issue. While the other part feels like if I didn't say anything, they would have continued to overstep their boundaries and I would have gone crazy. So as of now, they are not visiting and my husband has no desire to talk with them. And I guess I'll stop asking if they want to talk with me. Yeah, I don't think they like you, but they're not going to tell you that. And that's the end of that story.
I guess they definitely won't tell you that.
They're only going to talk to your husband. And hopefully you guys can have time for yourselves.
When I was siding with them, I didn't imagine they were the most exhausting, annoying
Yeah.
people of all time.
Once we got a little bit more context there.
It's like, oh.
Anytime anyone's just like, yeah, and it's not up to you, and no requests accepted, no denials listened to. It's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
okay.
all right. You stepped up and you put a stop to it. Congrats, OP.
I threw away my husband's Xbox because he refused to look for our missing dog.
Well, what if the dog was sucked into the Xbox like Jumanji?
For starters, I'm a nurse, 35 female. I have been extremely busy these past 3 months. Even writing this post is a privilege, and I am having to do this in bits and pieces. I also gave birth to my daughter 6 months ago. I have an 8-year-old son as well. When I'm not working, I take care of my children. By the way, this comes from Deleted, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Carly.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We just know what we would do, but let us know what you would do in the comments. So, OP says, in January 2019, my son suddenly developed this strong desire to have a dog. He begged and begged for a puppy from my husband, 35 male. I protested against that because I had just found out that I was pregnant. Jesus. My husband said that we should let our son have a puppy to teach him some responsibility and that he would have some practice to take care of his baby sibling. He had also promised that he would help our son take care of the dog. I was absolutely unconvinced, but I had to give in. But I had to give in eventually because my husband had already agreed and I didn't want to cause further fights. 5 days ago, my son accidentally left the back door of our house open and the dog ran away. These 5 days were also some of the busiest, most grueling days of my work, and I had to take up night shifts because a colleague had fallen sick. Our son first went to my husband for help. He refused to help him and said that it was my son's, responsibility to take care of the dog, and he had to do something about it himself. My husband has the privilege of working from home. He works at a law firm. He works for maybe 3 to 4 hours a day and plays Xbox the entire time, and sometimes gets out to check up on our daughter. He literally has no added pressures. 5 days ago, when our son told me in tears, Dad won't look for Tippy, I talked to my husband, who said that it would teach our son some responsibility to take care of things in the future, which I found very callous, since a dog is a living, sentient being and not a thing. He was playing Xbox when I was talking to him as well. He also said he wouldn't look for the dog or anything. Yesterday, after coming home at night, the first thing I did was unplug the Xbox console and controller and throw it in the trash can. This morning, before going to work, my husband threw a fit when he didn't find his Xbox in the living room. I told him that I had thrown it away because he was so addicted to... I told him that I'd thrown it away because he had a dependency on it that he couldn't even get up and help our distressed son. When I came back from work, he told me he had found his Xbox in the trash since the garbage truck hadn't arrived yet. Now he's being incredibly snarky, giving me the cold shoulder, and he's angry because his controller isn't working. He also hasn't taken any measures to look for our dog. Our mutual best friend called and said that my reaction was incredibly childish. Now, I'm spending my free day calling every neighbor of ours, making internet posters, contacting animal shelters and animal control to see if Tippy has turned up anywhere, while consoling my heartbroken son. Am I the a-hole? And we have some comments, but I want to hear yours.
I know you're too busy to probably even think about divorcing this man, but the fact that you have to even ask this question infuriates me.
Yeah.
He doesn't care that his son's dog ran away and that his son is distraught about it, and he's playing video games all day. I'm honestly mad that you didn't run the Xbox under the sink first and then throw it away.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like...
I would have smashed it with hammers.
Yeah, I feel like objectively, it's like always a good idea to, talk about things a little bit more before just throwing things away like that. But at the same time, I totally get why you did that.
Well,
and I really don't blame you.
This feels like one of those things where it's like there's nothing to talk about. It's like you're acting like an actual like psycho without like feelings or emotions. Like who are you?
Right.
Who are you? You look our son in the eyes while he cries about his missing dog, and you're like, well, I guess that'll teach you a lesson, and in the future you'll be more responsible. I gotta go play my game.
Yeah, it's like you had time to look for your Xbox, but you didn't have time to look for a dog. I know that probably takes a lot longer because your Xbox, you know where that is, but still. It's the principle. We do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, wow, your husband expected an 8-year-old to go look through the town for the lost dog by himself because he wanted to play video games instead? Well, what a crappy husband and father he is. Your kid won't forget it, that's for sure. Not the a-hole. I would have saved the Xbox, thrown out the husband. That's a good point. Yeah, give the Xbox to the kid. Comment number 2, I'm worried about your 6-month-old daughter. He gets up to check on her sometimes. That's some serious neglect. There's so much development happening to her right now, and he should be reading to her, spending tummy time with her, etc. You need to intervene right now. OP said, honestly, genuinely speaking, I wasn't aware that he was this neglectful. Oh, okay, so maybe he is. I have been incredibly busy for these months, and I didn't have time to check up on my baby girl. I used to be home for the first 3 months of her life, and then I had to suddenly get back to work. Not just my husband, it seems like I am a crappy mom too. Someone else responds, I don't think it's unreasonable to work a day, if that, and already has experience of raising a child to be trusted to look after another one. That expectation is not failing. It's just reasonable given the other pressures you have. The failing is in him being such a poor excuse for a human being, let alone a father, that he can't even manage that. Jesus, I'm middle-aged, child-free, and even I would expect myself to put more effort in than that. Date! My husband is a lawyer. A lawyer's job depends on how many clients he has. My husband currently has almost no clients due to obvious reasons. He told me this himself. So his workload is significantly less. Yeah, okay, first update. Tippy still hasn't been found yet. My shift ended about 30 minutes ago, and I'll go home and drive around my neighborhood and surrounding areas to look for him. I have posted some pictures of Tippy on my profile for those who requested. Husband is still sulking about his controller. I'm at my wit's end. Update number 2, Tippy has been found! Let's go!
Huzzah! Yeah!
And that was a short update. Update number 3. First of all, thank you everyone for your immensely kind and considerate responses. I am thankful to each and every one of you for giving me such beautiful and encouraging messages. These kept me going, no joke. Tippy was found 2 miles away from our house, a day after I posted ads and posters on several platforms and websites. A kind lady living alone had found him near her street, starving and exhausted. Aww. She responded to my calls for help on Facebook, and I am utterly thankful to her. We need more people like her in this world. My son and Tippy are both ecstatic to be reunited. Aww, he takes care of him just like he did before, only now I have some time on my hands to help him as well. However, my son is still wary of his father, and he'll likely remain so for a long time. Yeah, if he's 8 years old and all that happened, I feel like he will definitely remember that.
Yeah, talk about a core memory. Your dad just ignoring your distress.
Yeah, and playing video games instead.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't even let the son play video games. And as for my husband, he now treats Tippy as if he doesn't exist. He went and bought a new Xbox controller right after Tippy was brought back, and now demands that I pay him for damaging his property. I am willing to pay because I realized my impulsive response was not the best decision, nor was it best nor was it the best way to deal with my situation. My approach towards my husband's Xbox and my husband's approach towards Tippy were both horrible and irrational. But I would argue that his response to the loss of Tippy was more horrible.
Yeah, you really need to get rid of this guy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, for real.
Because that's, I don't know, unless he has like a come to Jesus moment breakthrough of like, oh my God, I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't see myself staying with this guy because it's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty wackadoodle. I started to notice some tender areas and red skin around my daughter's diaper area about 2 weeks ago. She was uncomfortable, irritable, and put up a fuss every time I tried to change her diaper. Turns out that she was suffering from a diaper rash. That's right. I forgot that he was also neglectful of their 6-month-old child.
Yeah, get this guy.
Dude.
Yeah. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. Diaper rashes can occur for a variety of reasons, none of which applied to my daughter. She wasn't on antibiotics. She had soft cotton clothes. Her bowel movements were normal, and we weren't using any new products on her. This left only one option. Her diapers weren't being changed frequently. I was away from home for 5 days. I asked my husband how many times he changed her diaper. Oh, and we'll find out right after I tell you that you can listen to full episodes with more stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime. And we do have more to the story. I want to get into it to know how many diapers he changed in 5 days.
Let's go.
A baby her age needs her diaper changed at least once every 3 hours. My husband outright said that he changed them every 7 hours or so for those 5 days because he didn't think that they needed to be changed as much as before since she was now 6 months old. But they just start pooing less? What's up with that?
Crazy. They just magically learn how to use the toilet in that time.
Yeah, 6 months is enough to stand up and walk to the toilet.
What is going on?
That's so crazy. Oh, yeah. Okay, OP continues. He had raised a son with me before. It's a ridiculous excuse. The diaper rash is gone now, but I'm scared to ever leave my baby with him when I go to work. I will have to sit down and reconsider everything and have a long talk with him soon. It's inevitable. He still plays Xbox just like he used to before. I will never forget how a bunch of strangers jumped to help me find our dog. Thank you, you lovely people. And that is the end of that story.
My mother-in-law keeps disfavoring my daughter.
Favor her.
This happened last Christmas, and it still eats at me in those rare moments when all is calm in my household. I want to preface the story with the fact that I understand people have different ideas of what makes gifting fair. While her method is not my cup of tea, it's not up to me to dictate how other people gift. It's not the how, but the when and the impact it had that I'm struggling to decide what to do about. By the way, this comes from user Adulting is Trifficult from the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go on down to the OK Storytime subreddit and submit them there. And we're here to give you our best advice, but we haven't experienced most of these situations ourselves. So if you have, why don't you let us know in the comments? And OP says, I also want to say that I don't expect people to love step family the same as bio family. I'm a fairly logical person. I understand that it's awesome when they do love family the same, regardless of step or bio status, but it's also natural to favor bio family. I do expect some amount of decorum and for the favoritism not to be palpable to the children. Maybe I expect too much from some people.
I don't know. I just think that when you
Yeah.
get with a person and you have kids already, I don't really know if I would want to get with a person who didn't have a very strong connection with my kids, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the most reasonable and simple thought of all time to be like, yeah, you shouldn't make my kids feel like they're less
Agreed.
than other people.
Yeah.
They should just be
Simple.
kids.
Yeah.
Some relevant context. My hubby and I have been together for 5 years. I have an 8-year-old from my previous marriage, and we have a 2-year-old together. Hubby is a good step-parent and loves my kid like she was his own. My mother-in-law and I get along great for the most part. She is loud and opinionated, which can get irritating at times, but she's a nice person in general, and also claims to love my oldest as her own grandchild. Not sure if it's relevant context, so I'm sharing in case people think it is. I have had to correct her when she's overstepped my parenting boundaries. She does the same with sister-in-law and brother-in-law and their kids, who are 2 under 6 years old, but they don't say anything. They just complain to hubby about it later. She's backed off since I called her out on it, but continues to interfere with sister and brother-in-law's parenting because they don't. On to the events leading up to Christmas. All the kids created their wish lists with the help of us parents. Mother-in-law reached out to me to ask if a gift she picked out that wasn't on the list would be liked by my 8-year-old. I said that she would love it and it was a great idea. She said since it was a large item, it would set the price for that year's gift haul for all the grandkids. Mother-in-law is of the opinion that spending the same amount of money on each kid keeps it fair, even though the younger children get a higher quantity, as generally wish lists get more expensive as the kids get older. Not my idea of what makes it fair, but again, not my place to tell other people how to gift. This would be the first time her method would result in some kids only getting one gift since I've been going to family Christmas. I think there is a certain age when that kind of makes sense. Maybe 8's a little early.
Yeah.
Because then it does at that age, it's like, wait, but look, they have more. And you can't really be like, yeah, but yours cost the same amount as all of them. But they're like, but they got to open
got
7
more.
things, and I only got to open 2 or 1 thing.
Yeah, I remember
It wasn't as fun.
I remember as a kid being like, wait, I just want to open things.
Yeah.
Let me open things.
Yeah. But if that's how I don't know. I guess it's true that even if that is how you felt, it's like
Not
your
your
place.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she did ask you.
Yeah.
So the floor was open for you to be like, she would like it, but
Yeah.
I don't know if she would like only opening 1 gift.
Yeah, maybe we just
So maybe spread it out, even though
Yeah.
she would like that. Fast forward to Christmas Day family gathering. On the way over, I explained to my daughter the method mother-in-law used to buy gifts, so she wouldn't be blindsided when she only got 1, and the younger kids got a few more than her. I didn't spoil the surprise of the gift. I was trying to get ahead of the disappointment I knew would come from only getting 1. I don't know if that was the right move. I think that might have been a wait and see how she handles it, and if she doesn't handle it well, then you try to damage control.
Sure.
Teach the lesson of hey, sometimes less is more. Sometimes, hey, the quality of this thing is actually, when you look at what they got, I know that I'll wrap whatever. You'd be like, if you're sad you didn't get to open more stuff, I'll wrap up some trinkets for you or something. Or you could do that. But I don't think prefacing was maybe the right move.
I don't know. I think it could be potentially good.
Yeah.
If she knows that her daughter would throw a fit about it or something. Hopefully not.
Throw a fit like Jeff Goldblum.
He's always throwing fits. So stylish.
She was a little bummed, but took it pretty well overall and said she understood. Gift opening time arrives. Kids start opening gifts. Oldest opened her 1 gift. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law's oldest also gets the same big gift. Cue both toddlers getting a plethora of gifts, a 10-to-1 ratio compared to the older kids. Mother-in-law had gotten cheap knockoffs of toys so she could get more for the set price that year. Daughter enjoyed helping her sibling open their gifts since they hadn't figured out how to remove wrapping paper yet and was showing them how to use each one. Crisis successfully averted so far. Nephew did not take it so well that he only got 1 while his sibling got more and started to loudly whine and fuss about it.
Yeah, so it seems like you prepped your daughter better than he was prepped.
Oh, he's also younger.
Now he's a
Little bit.
loser. That's what he is. He's a freaking baby.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
That is true. That is true. This is a baby.
It's a baby.
I don't fault him for this. I guarantee no one explained it to him beforehand. And I get that kids see fairness in quantity since quality and monetary value are less tangible. Hence why I told my kid beforehand. The next part is where I have a problem. Mother-in-law pulls out more gifts for my nephew.
What?
Okay. So not the agreed arrangement.
No.
My daughter saw it and got visibly upset, though no one else seemed to pick up on it. She asked me why he got more if he got the same big gift as her, and she reiterated mother-in-law's rule. She started to gently cry, and I had no words. It hurt my heart. I couldn't explain it because, as my daughter pointed out, mother-in-law broke her own rule. When people do crappy things, my auto response is to tell her that some people just suck sometimes, and I didn't want to say that about my mother-in-law, even if it was true in that moment. I just hugged her and tried to redirect to something else. Eventually, the kids all ran off to play with other things. She had asked, within earshot of mother-in-law. Mother-in-law said nothing and acted as if she hadn't heard or seen my daughter crying. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. She broke her own rule. The one she expressed over and over again and heavily emphasized with so much pride that it was how she was keeping things fair, and she did so to the detriment of my daughter's feelings. And by the way, It won't be a detriment to your feelings if you listen to full episodes of stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, just search OK Storytime. And we do have a little bit more story here.
I think that OP's plan to like pre-prep her daughter would have been perfectly fine if mother-in-law hadn't lied. So it really sucks that she lied. And it seems like what we're going to learn is that she did it because OP's this is step granddaughter.
Yeah.
Which really sucks. And I think that OP has the right idea of just saying sometimes people do mean stuff and we can't really control them. And we just have to kind of move forward and maybe let's go get ice cream.
Yeah, it's like your genetic code does not match the gift registry.
Yeah.
You cannot receive a second gift.
Your thumbprint didn't work. Sorry. No gift for you.
Just lame.
Yeah.
Just a lame thing to do to a child.
8-year-old.
They're children.
An 8-year-old.
I would flip around and be like, dang, mother-in-law, you really that broke?
Yeah, I can't afford
Dang, mother-in-law.
another little gifty.
Dang, mother-in-law, I didn't know you were broke like that. You want a $20 bill from me? Here, Merry Christmas. Here's an Abraham Lincoln. Go buy yourself something nice.
Yeah, you should just not get her a gift. And when she's like, "Why didn't you get me a gift?" You're like, "Oh, well, we're not related."
OP, I do hope you did take her aside because you've already called her out, and you take her aside and you go, "Yeah, I see exactly what you're doing here, and it's not cool." And honestly, I think you should feel a little disgusted with yourself.
Yeah,
this is a child.
I agree. I think we need to have that.
Would you not
combo.
want all of the children to feel welcome in the family?
Definitely get your partner involved. Let him know what's going on.
But we do have a little more story. To top it all off, as I was looking at the gifts the two toddlers were getting, I noticed half of them weren't from their own wish lists, but from my daughter's list. So not only did she make my daughter feel like she was worth less than her cousins on Christmas Day, my daughter had to watch her cousin and sibling get some of the things she had wanted. Is it just my inner mama bear overreacting, or should I do/say something as we're approaching the prep season for next Christmas? Move in the shadows. How do I get past this? My daughter hasn't brought it up since, but I'm still irked by it. And that is the end of that story. I do think your daughter is probably pretty resilient and gonna be fine. That's why that's my whole point of like maybe waiting, just like to wait and see how she reacts and then judge like, all right, what level of like nurturing or shielding is really necessary here. It seems like she processed that pretty well and almost enjoyed like opening those gifts, even though they were things that she might have wanted. It sounds like your daughter would be the kind of person who'd be like, "Oh, this is so cool. This is something I wanted. You're gonna really like this."
Yeah.
Because I would have really liked this, so you're gonna like it. And that just means you're raising a good kid.
Yeah. I think that it seems like your daughter's doing great. I think that she's going to be fine from this experience. However, it is definitely something you need to address with your partner and mother-in-law because it's only going to get worse and more obvious as she grows older.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's something that's going to get worse over time.
Yeah.
So it's something that needs to be called out
Now.
pretty fast.
Now.
And yeah, I think you're right. I would call them out as a team.
Yeah.
100%. And maybe even get like brother-in-law and sister-in-law involved.
Yeah.
You know, whoever the relevant parties are, just sit down and be like, "Hey, we need to talk about how you behave with the kids."
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story.
I moved back home after my husband filed for divorce, and now everyone hates me.
You just can't catch a break.
I've been getting cruel messages from my ex, his family, and our friends for the past few days. My soon-to-be ex-husband, Levi, 33 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for a decade and married for 5 years. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby and due next month. By the way, this comes from Dig Grassanova. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, after I graduated, I moved back to his hometown, a major city on the West Coast, with him. I'm from a bigger city in the Midwest, but I loved living out there. I thought we were happy. We planned our baby and were so excited. But a few weeks ago, he told me he was going to file for divorce. He said he didn't want to be tied down anymore. He was still young and needed to live his life, etc. He said there was nobody else, but I know since then he's been seeing someone. He wanted me to move out, but this is my house too. I put the down payment even. So he's staying with his friend Lewis. I can't afford to live here on my own while maintaining my lifestyle. Sure, I could make it work, but it wouldn't be the kind of lifestyle that I'd want to live, especially with a baby. I make really good money even, but it's so expensive. I have friends for sure, but not the support system he does. No family here. So I've decided to move back home, and luckily my company has a location in my hometown. So I was able to keep my job. My parents have been so supportive. They're divorced and hate one another, but are now combined in their hatred of Levi, which is interesting to see.
Wow. Well, one union ends and another gets less bad. Well, I guess they don't have a union anymore.
One union ends, and one somehow gets better from the second one ending.
One union ends, another begins. A union of distaste.
For Levi. They've secured me a nice rental home in my city and refuse to let me pay them back, saying I need to save for my next house. They're paying for my divorce lawyer and my co-pays at my new doctor here. They said I'm doing the right thing for my baby and are happy to help. My mom is about to retire and even wants to watch my baby while I work after my maternity leave. So it's been an ideal situation for me. Levi is furious.
Oh, is he? Boo-hoo. Maybe you shouldn't have just, I don't know, done the most immature possible thing and been like, I need to be free, and then just started dating someone else.
Yeah. He's claiming that I moved back to get at him, and I'm going to try to keep him out of our baby's life.
Didn't you literally say you didn't want to be tied down, my guy? What happened to all that? Don't you just want to pay child support while you hang out with your new girl?
I explained very clearly that I couldn't afford to be a single mom in San Diego, but he doesn't believe me. He's told everyone I moved to get the upper hand on custody. That's not why I moved, but it's definitely a plus. His job doesn't have any locations here, and they won't keep him if he moves. He could get another job here, of course, but he's saying that's too much to ask of him. I told him I'd be going for child support once the baby is born, and he told me I needed to make up my mind. Could he be a dad or no? I told him he was going to be a dad regardless, and if he doesn't want to move here, then he would be a dad by paying child support. I don't think I'm the a-hole. I think I'm doing what I have to do. But I don't know what I'm supposed to say to all these people texting and calling me and telling me I'm keeping Levi's baby from him.
Insane that people are not on your side.
Yeah.
He's leaving you pregnant to explore his other options, telling you he doesn't want to be tied down. And now that you're moving back home where it's less expensive and you have the support of your own family, he's like, what, are you going to let me be a dad or not? Buddy, you told me you didn't want to be one.
Info from comments. Pregnancy, 7 months. Current place, Southern California, San Diego. City moving to, Midwest. Info about other girl. She's like 38. I know, not old, but she knew he was married because they worked together. She congratulated me on my pregnancy.
Snake.
And has 3 kids that she doesn't even have full custody of, I found out. We have an update 6 days later. But yeah, girl, you moved back to have your support system and be able to live.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
Honestly, at this point, I think I would be like, we're going to just have all our communications handled with the divorce lawyers. And, you know, I'm going to document you sort of turning all these people against me. Because, again, I did not move out here to get the upper hand. I moved out here because I can't afford it. We're no longer together and you're not supporting me. And I wanted to be closer to my family to have the support, you know, while I'm going through the later stages of my pregnancy.
Yeah. Update 6 days later. So first off, I thought I was clear in my first post, but the amount of helpful comments who skipped over the following info was driving me insane. I have already moved back to the Midwest, and I already have a lawyer. So no need to tell me to move before baby is born or yell at me to get a lawyer. I've done both. A few weeks after moving out, he had filed for divorce in California. Since I was moving and obtaining a lawyer, I had not yet responded. I have an OBGYN here in my hometown and am set to give birth here. I have legal advice from a professional. My ex Levi came to my place like the day after my post. I hadn't been responding to him or his friends or family and had just muted their numbers. I got home and he was talking to my new neighbor who I haven't met yet. I wanted him to stop, so I let him come inside to talk, but also texted my parents what was going on. Basically, he said everything had been a mistake. He didn't think everything through enough and that he had withdrawn his divorce petition. So you just got to go out with another girl for a couple months and we think that everything is just like fine?
This guy.
Or not a couple months.
This guy. Come on. This guy. We're still getting divorced, buddy.
He said he was fine living in my hometown. He'd need time to find a job, but could work on selling the house back west in the meantime and work remote until he found a new job. Kind of acting like everything was fine. Very strange, though, not like he was on substances. I've seen him on substances. It's been years, but it wasn't that. I don't know. By the time my dad got there, I was very upset and not thinking clearly. His wife drove me to their house, and he stayed there with Levi for a bit and got him to leave, and he's been at my mom's and won't leave town. I don't want to get too into it. My lawyer was able to confirm he sort of withdrew the petition, but it was either incomplete or incorrect. His behavior has been odd, yes. I told them I'm not talking to him unless he gets evaluated, and I don't know if my mom wore him down or what, but he agreed and has been at the hospital all day. My mom's boyfriend has been through a lot of this with his own son and was able to get him into a good hospital. I hope we'll know something soon. To be honest, I'm exhausted and overwhelmed. I feel bad saying this, but I don't want to be dealing with this right now. I have so much going on and had already kind of divorced him and started my life as a single mom in my head. I'm not saying I'm going to stay with him, even if this is a health thing. He has crossed so many boundaries and hurt me so bad in just 2 months. But I did make a vow that I take seriously. And before all of this, if you told me he'd done any of this, you'd think I was insane. So I'm not really sure why I'm posting an update. I'm not religious, but grew up Catholic. And maybe someone who is reads this and can pray for us, I guess. They'd have a more direct line to the big guy than me right now. I'm not sure what I'd pray for. If he's fine, then he's just the a-hole, and I'm fine divorcing him. But if it's something more, I'm so overwhelmed at the thought of taking care of both him and a newborn. But it would mean he hasn't been deceiving me all of these years. By the way, we'll never deceive you, because you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this. To go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. We got a little bit more.
I don't know what I would be hoping for. I don't know if I'm hoping for, like, you know, oh, he's got a benign tumor in his brain.
Like, I don't want anything to be wrong.
But also, like, if he doesn't, then it just means, like, okay, so clearly you've been together for a long time. You've been together for 10 years, all of your 20s, basically, you know, and now he's like, well, I need to explore other options. And it's like, so the fact that he could let a pang of emotion of like, oh, I missed out, or I have this other opportunity, which, by the way, was definitely cheating on you with that woman at his job. And there's no way he would have just like broke off the marriage and then been like, I'm hoping I can get with this other person. That was already locked in. So he did cheat on you while you were pregnant. To what extent, whether it was just emotional or not, doesn't matter. I don't know.
Yeah, he's gross. For doing that. We just have an edit. I've gotten a few comments and also want to say this. I have his phone. I now know for a fact the woman he was seeing was not the woman I thought. He didn't meet that woman until after he filed for divorce, and that she still wants to be with him. I'm not saying this changes anything, but people kept bringing her up. Some top relevant comments. Commenter 1 says, how did he get your address? That's not good. OP says, I gave him my address when I moved. He was an a-hole, not harmful. I was never scared of him. Commenter 2 says, his girlfriend, who he was cheating on with you, dumped him when she found out about you and or the baby. Of course, he'll pass the medical assessment because there's no test for douchiness. OP says, I don't want to get too into it. I know this isn't the case, and I have his phone, though. We'll see how everything goes. He was voluntarily admitted earlier, but they haven't told me anything yet. Commenter 3 says, how did you get his phone? He was staying at your mom's and you are at your dad's? How do you know he doesn't have another phone? Any way you slice it, you seem to be such a decent person. I am wishing the best for you and your baby, whatever you decide. And OP says, they gave it to me after he was admitted. I don't know if he has another phone, I guess, but everything seems to be on here. Another commenter says, however everything goes and whatever you decide, I want to wish the best for you and your baby. You've made all the right moves, considering your circumstances. At this point, it's all about you and the baby staying safe and healthy. OP says, thank you, I agree. I know everyone is mad. I still care about him. But it's about my baby, and honestly, I think the best thing for baby is having a healthy dad, even if he's an a-hole. If something is wrong, I might still leave him, but I'd be supportive of him getting better, and so would my family. I don't even know what I want to happen. That's the end of that story.
Yeah, that is a rock and a hard place. I don't know. I'd have to really get down to the emotional root of how all of this happened and what transpired. So maybe he wasn't cheating on you when all this happened, but it's like, okay, how can I move forward in this relationship without the fear that you're going to do this when our child is 5 or 10 or whenever? Like, and how am I supposed to move forward without never being able to trust that you're just going to drop me?
Right. I feel like that would be the whole question. Like, depending on her answer to that is how you move forward. Like, if you think it's possible, then sure, give it a try, especially if there's something like diagnosed, but otherwise he sucks. But that's the end of that story.
My husband won't stop sneezing on my food, so I'm putting some distance between us.
That's disgusting.
My husband, 41 male, and I, 32 female, have been married for 10 years, and we have a routine where we eat dinner while watching TV. We sit next to each other in our big, comfy chairs using little TV trays. However, he prefers to hold his food instead of using his tray. This is important later. By the way, this comes from user sneezed on and fed up. And you can submit your own stories to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
And I'm Savannah.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you do in the comments. Like not sneezing on your partner's food or anyone's food. As Opie says, he works from home most days, while I work from home fully. We talk throughout the day during breaks. So we don't really have traditional dinner conversations. For example, how was your day? My husband suffers from seasonal allergies, and some months are rougher than others. He has allergy meds, and we always keep tissues nearby, but he often says he doesn't have time to reach for them when we're eating, because he's holding his plate and refuses to use the TV tray. Over the past year, he started doing something that I find extremely disrespectful and disgusting. When he feels a sneeze coming on, he moves his plate to the right and turns his head left toward me and my plate. He doesn't warn me, and if I'm not paying attention, like scrolling through Netflix for something for us to watch, or already chowing down, I don't notice until it's too late. He sneezes violently and repeatedly without covering his mouth all over me and my food. And there's a little edit here. Seems as people think this is a nightly thing. It's not and never has been. It's just too frequent and annoying for me. I'm annoyed for you. It's not only when we're eating either. It's not only when I'm around or never around other people either. I'm not sure why these assumptions were made. I hope this clears things up. Opie continues with, when I tell him how gross it is, he says, it's not that bad. I've had to throw my food away multiple times because I refuse to eat it after it's been sneezed on. I'm sorry, it's gross. I don't think asking me to eat whatever was expelled from his nose and mouth is reasonable. I've also had to clean myself off several times because I don't want spittle and whatever else all over me. When I throw the food away, he says I was overreacting and being unreasonable. I told him he should either use the TV tray or sneeze in the direction of his own dang plate if it's no big deal, as he says. He has refused to trade plates with me several times when this happens, and he groans and acts like I'm causing an issue when I say we should trade. Once when we were having takeout and didn't have any leftovers, he even added so much chili to his food that it was too hot for me to eat and sat there smugly saying how now I couldn't ask him to trade food. It felt childish AF. This has just added to the feeling of disrespect coming from him. I'm tired of throwing away food, but I also don't want to eat it after what he does to it. It's gross. Would I be the a-hole if I just moved my chair away from him while I'm eating? He says he can't control this, so I don't see another solution if he's unwilling to not sneeze in my general direction. I know he'll huff and puff and roll his eyes and say that I'm being unreasonable, but I doubt he'll make more of a fuss than that. But would this make me the a-hole? I just want to eat my food without his nasal contributions. Is that really too much to ask? And there's a little edit there, but we'll get to that after we say, you're not the a-hole.
Not at all.
What do you mean? I was going to say, you know what? If he's going to keep doing it, cancel TV night or dinner time. I would not be sitting next to this guy whatsoever.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't sit next to him either. I'd be like, listen, since you refuse to change your nasty habits, I'm just going to go eat at the table and, you do whatever you want. But yeah, no, I can't eat in the same room as you. And isn't that sad?
You know what I would do? I would stand up and fart in his food.
I'd also do that.
Just be like, oh, sorry. Now you're being unreasonable. I farted in your food. Can't control it.
Eat my farts.
Oh, you're being unreasonable. No, this guy sucks. He's doing it on purpose. There's no shot that every time he sneezes in your direction and on your food, he can sneeze to anywhere else, any other direction. He doesn't care. This guy sucks. I would break up with this guy.
It is the blatant disrespect of just like, I told you that this is gross and that I don't want to, eat your whatever's coming out of you. And you refuse. So, I don't know. Then we're just not eating together.
You know what I'm doing? Picking my nose, getting a booger, putting it right in his food and saying, oh, you know what? Accident. Because that's what he's doing to your food. I don't like that. This guy sucks. Edit to add. A sincere thank you to the folks who actually gave good advice, listened, and cared. Thank you from the bottom of my anxiety-riddled heart. I mean it. It means something to me to know that someone, somewhere, genuinely cares about a random stranger on the internet. You're not as rare as I thought, which is nice to know in the grand scheme of things. I'm beyond overwhelmed with the replies. I'm not an extrovert. I'm trying to keep up with the replies, but as said, I'm also trying to get some work done. I never expected this many reactions. It's a lot to sort through, and I'm sorry to those who left genuine comments that I missed. I will try to go through and answer everyone, but if I miss you, sorry about that. I've gone from thinking this was just a move the chair / don't move the chair. It's not worth the drama post to questioning whether I'm in a harmful marriage and what that means for me, for him, for us going forward. I honestly wasn't thinking of this as harmful. I feel more than a little stupid for not recognizing it, especially because if I read this story from someone else, I'd be outraged. I'm ashamed and genuinely embarrassed. I can tell you one thing for sure. I will not be getting sneezed on today, and we will be having a conversation about it soon. We have an update. Oh, I like that.
That's crazy. I wouldn't say that I don't know. I wouldn't go so far as to say you're in a harmful relationship, but this is like the only thing he does. I'd be like,
nah,
okay,
this is gross.
like,
this is like biological warfare.
I mean, it is gross. It is nasty. And I'd be like, can you like actually stop? Like, this is really bothering me and disgusting. Like, you're ruining my dinner every single night. So please, stop or go in the other room. I don't know what you want.
Yeah, no. Hopefully he can stop sneezing on you. And if he doesn't, get out. Get out.
Yeah.
We got an update. So first things first, our age gap. There's been some speculation about my husband being a predator. Whoa. We met online in a space where people weren't sharing their ages. My avatar was a sketch I'd done, and his was a character from his favorite book series. He didn't go trolling for barely out of college girls. We met through a shared hobby, which we still share and enjoy together. We eventually started flirting and then shared our contact information outside of the site. So whatever story you've told yourself about him being some sort of creep, it's not true. That's not to say there isn't an unhealthy power dynamic at play. But please do not demonize a man for something he didn't do. It's unhelpful and hurtful. If you think it's a red flag that I'm sticking up for someone I love, perhaps examine why you wouldn't stick up for those who you love when they're falsely accused of something, especially something like that. And on to the update. So, last night, I moved my chair. Yes, it's easy to move my chair. It glides right across the floor without issue. The positioning is such that unless he performs an exorcist-level headspin, sneezing at me or on me shouldn't be a problem. He grumbled a bit as we ate, saying, "I was being silly." Tonight, there was no sneeze, as is typical on most nights. Which, I guess I didn't make clear enough in my original post that this isn't an everyday thing. After we finished eating in our highly uncivilized no dinner table way, which some of you were scarily offended by, live and let live, folks. I moved my chair back. I started a conversation with him about why I moved the chair and expressed that I was unhappy with him sneezing on me, that I found it vile and disgusting, and that expecting me to eat his germs was not okay. We live in a city, so I can always go out to eat or even order something in if I'm not in the mood to dig through the freezer, but I shouldn't have to waste money. The compromise was either that I continue moving my chair or that he starts using his TV tray and sneezing, at the very least, into his elbow. He told me, again, that it wasn't on purpose and seemed annoyed that I'd be bringing it up again. But he accepted it, and that was that. He switched the topic after saying the "fine," which translates to, "I'm accepting this, but I don't like it." We didn't discuss it further. For the rest of the night, he acted like nothing was out of the ordinary, strange, or strained in any way. I'm sure that's a red flag all by itself, but it's the least of my problems right now. One small step. I'll be working on slowly setting boundaries for myself and speaking up more. It will be a process. Not a very dramatic update, I know, but this is just what life is sometimes. And, by the way, you know what sometimes happens, Savannah?
What?
Is that we have episodes with stories just like this. Just go to your favorite podcast app. Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, and search up OK Storytime. There's a little bit left here, but I think this is a victory.
It's a start. Like, I don't know if he'll actually take it seriously because he just went fine, whatever. Like, I don't know if that really, because there wasn't an actual conversation. It was more like you expressed your thoughts and feelings and how you viewed it, and he just went, okay.
He's like, I don't care, but I'll, whatever.
Yeah, I'll, whatever, I'll acquiesce. Like, I don't know.
It's a very childish response. Hopefully he just doesn't act like this anymore and everything goes smoothly and doesn't sneeze on you anymore. But, like I said, the fact that he doesn't care and he doesn't find it disgusting is so selfish and just gross.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's go ahead and finish up this story. Again, to the folks who have reached out both privately and in the comment section, I appreciate you, your stories, and your feedback. Thank you for your commiseration. And yes, after some of the replies I've gotten, I absolutely understand why you didn't want to share publicly. It's still helpful to know I'm not alone in this. I also appreciate the patience of the folks who didn't get mad that I couldn't respond with absolute accuracy and communicate perfectly in a timely fashion while somehow also being able to analyze my entire relationship dynamic from an outside, totally objective perspective. That's a big ask, and I appreciate the benefit of grace and patience from those who offered it. I clearly cannot keep up with the comments and don't have hours to spend replying each day, so I'm sorry if I missed you. I hope this update suffices. And that's the end of that story.
I adopted a dog when my husband was in military training. Now he doesn't want to get another one.
Get all the dogs.
My husband, 38, and I, 35, have been married for about 15 years, and we have a wonderful relationship. I now have 2 children, 3 male, 8 female, with this man, and we live a pretty ideal life. By the way, this comes from All Up in Space, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Savannah.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give some good advice, goofily, but we do not have all of the answers that you may want. We'd only tell you what we would do in this situation, but let us know what you would do down in the comments. Deal. As Opie says, about 14 years ago, after we had gotten married, I was a lonely, newlywed military wife. And while my husband was on some month-long training mission, I did something unbelievably selfish. I got a dog. We had talked about it before, but we had never really set anything specific in motion. I was depressed and lonely, living half a country away from my friends and family. I had been job hunting for a few months around our military base and hadn't found anything. I didn't really fit in with the other wives. I needed a reason to get out of bed. So I went on Pet Finder, found a dog about 2 hours away that I really wanted, a big sweet mutt that I was told was a great Dane. DNA test said that was a lie, but oh well. And I adopted him. I cleaned him up, and I started crate training him and took good care of him by myself for weeks until my husband completed his training program. I told him what I had done and said that I would give my husband the honor of naming the dog this time. And then I said that since I made this decision without him to make up for it, next time he would get to pick the dog and I would pick the name. So my husband named him Theo, and all was good. During the course of my husband's military career, during long, lonely deployments and overnight field exercises, it was just me and Theo. He helped me immensely with my anxiety and depression. I kept him with me all the time through new jobs and new homes. When I moved back to our home state, while my husband finished his contract, again it was just me and Theo, the perfect dog who is, for the most part, obedient, quiet, affectionate, and non-aggressive. Post-military, we've gotten roots, had 2 kids. Everything's great. Theo is getting pretty old now, and even though he's been potty trained his whole life, he has more frequent accidents that come with age. Unless there's a rare specific reason that I can't, I typically do the cleanup without any complaint. While mentally he's very happy and content, Theo is showing more signs of age. His face is all white, his legs shake, he's somehow bony and fat in some spots. He's on arthritis and pain meds, and that's helped. The kids are gentle with him, and he's so sweet with them. He's our very loved Grampy dog. I told my husband that soon would be a great time to get a puppy or a younger dog because then we would have time to spend time training it over the holidays while we'd be on the holiday break with the kids. The puppy would help Theo stay more active, and Theo could help teach the puppy by example how to act. The final and biggest reason is because it would make the transition easier when Theo inevitably passes. My husband responded that he doesn't want to get another dog anytime soon. He doesn't like having to clean up after him. He doesn't like it when Theo gets in his way, either standing up or laying down. I did say 13 years ago that he would get to pick the next dog, but I don't think it's fair that it gives him the ability to veto another dog entirely. I want to be fair and hold to our bargain. I want to respect his wishes because he does certainly get a say in what happens where he lives. I work from home, and the idea of being the only living thing in the house while my kids and husband are out makes me so sad and lonely. I have and will continue to be the primary breadwinner for the rest of our lives. I feel like this should factor into this decision, but I feel uncomfortable playing that card. So, Reddit. Would I be the a-hole if I forced this family decision? There's an update.
I think this is hard because you clearly want another dog, but I think everyone should decide. I think this is like a full-on family decision. And the kids getting involved too, but usually the kids are always going to say yes.
Yeah, the kids are going to want a dog, especially if they already have a dog and, they're very gentle and playful with the dog. Like, they're going to want another one when this one, inevitably goes. But, this does, I feel like, especially because now, you have kids, there's, other factors involved. You need to make sure that everyone's on board because you don't want to just go and get the dog and then he's like, I told you I didn't want, it's going to cause more uproar.
Or he's going to resent the dog.
Yeah, and you don't want that either because it's not the dog's fault,
resent the dog, then resent you because
Yeah.
he knows it's not the dog's fault. But it's like
this is definitely a decision that needs to be made together. So I do think that you would be the a-hole if you just went and got one.
Yeah,
And just was like, oh, but you can name it again. That's our bargain. I don't think that's right.
yeah. I know this is also 13 years ago. You didn't have kids. You had just Theo, and it was him.
Yeah.
Times are different 13 years later.
Yeah, I think he kind of I don't know, hopefully he got over that and was understanding and being like, okay.
Oh, they kept Theo.
Yeah. And maybe even, he said he doesn't, this dog's always in the way, whatever. If it's part Great Dane, even though they said that wasn't it. But, Great Danes are big dogs. You can get a small dog. Be like, oh, we can get a, smaller medium dog, just not as huge like a freaking horse.
Didn't he? Well, he said also if they get another dog, that he'll decide what kind of dog they get, and OP gets to name it. I think this is just all right, we brought up what we want. If our partner says no, what can we do? Can we get a fish?
Yeah. I mean, something it doesn't have to be, a dog. There are so many other pets, getting a fish or a bird or, hamster or something like that, or even just a reptile. They're really cool. I love reptiles.
Yeah, see if there's a compromise of getting just another pet. But if he's just no other dogs, maybe a cat, something.
That's true. Yeah.
But dog would be, I know you seem like you're on board for a dog.
Now on to the update. The major consensus is I would be the a-hole, so I'll accept that. Thanks for being real with me, guys, and a special thank you to everyone that shared their stories of adopting younger dogs with their senior dogs. I had believed it was a good decision based on some previous advice, but your stories have convinced me otherwise. I'm going to address some items brought up in the comments. Getting a dog in the first place was selfish. I agree, it was, but I don't regret it. For the first 6 years of my husband's military contract, when he wasn't overseas or in the field, I was a woman living by herself over 1,000 miles from my friends, family, and a support system. Having a big, loyal dog with me during those times made me feel safe, and he admitted it gave him some peace of mind, too. Since I handled all training, exercises, cleanups, and related vet and grooming bills, and he was well-behaved, it wasn't really an issue. I'm the a-hole for not getting another dog sooner. Unfortunately, there wasn't much we could do around that. The timing just didn't work. After his contract was over, would have been a great time, except the new family edition slot got taken by our first kid. We actually had thought we couldn't get pregnant, so this was a very nice welcome. The same thing happened again 4 years later, so now the kid number 2 is a more manageable age. The conversation came up again. Thank you for the Redditors who explained that we missed the window. It's unfortunate, but I agree. Cleanups. Theo has only been incontinent for the last 2 years and was previously perfectly house trained. The only time my husband cleans up after the dog is if I physically cannot at the moment, such as a timely cooking task or bathing or attending to a kid during bath times, feedings, or emotional meltdowns. These events are rare, and he does this without me asking. By the way, I am going to ask you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Please? Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast app and just search up Okay Story Time. There's a little bit left. What are we thinking?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, everyone needs to be on board kind of thing. And I don't understand why people are like, you're selfish because you got a dog when your husband was on deployment. I think it's as long as you can provide for the dog, you have the funds to take care of the pet. I personally, especially because you don't know how long the deployment's going to be, I think that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you just got the dog and then, like, weren't taking care of it, and then we're like, I need to, like, get this to someone else, like, or, like, put it all on the husband when
exactly.
he comes back.
Like, I'm dumping the dog on you. Like, it's your pet. It's not our pet. No, it was, like, you were clearly taking care of it. You were alone. I don't blame you. But in regards to a second dog, like I said, you're in a different place than you were 13 years ago. If your husband really is just hard lock, no, you have to respect that. It's something that you cannot do, especially since you surprised him with the first dog the first time. It does suck, but maybe it can change in due time. Who knows? That was me with my parents. Like, my sister and I, because my dad had a cat. I'm allergic to cats, but my dad had a cat for a long time. Passed away in, like, 4th grade, and my mom didn't want to take care of any more pets and stuff like that. We got a dog maybe, like, 4 years later. My mom's like, I'm so anti-dog. Became such a mom dog.
Oh.
Or, sorry, so become such a dog mom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, loved the dogs, was with the dogs, sleeps with the dogs, all the things. And we were like, what happened?
Yeah.
How did that, what?
That was my brother came home with my dog. She was just, like, a stray, and we, like, put signs up and, you know, whatever. And after, like, the 3rd day, like, because my mom was like, no, we're not keeping her, we're not doing it, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, after, like, the 3rd day, my mom's like, we need to go take the signs down. And, like, literally was like, no one answered, no one's coming, like, no one thought to, she didn't have a call or anything. And they guessed she was around, like, 6 months, like, you know. And so, like, I don't know, and she was just in the convenience store that my brother was in, and he, like, bought some cheese and, like, gave it to her. And then she followed him home.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
that
so
was,
we found all of our pets. I've never had to, like, actually, like, buy.
We got our, same thing with us. Like, we had, like, my first dog was from my cousin, and they couldn't have the dog, and they're like, do you want him? And we were like, are we, like, well, maybe we'll hold on to him for, like, a week. And, like, he was very shy, and then just, we were like, no, he's so great. And then we were like, no, he needs a buddy. And then But like, my mom's like, no more dogs. And then another family friend was like, we have this dog. It won't stop yapping. Do you want this dog? Which is Mia. And now she's, my dad's like Shadow. So cute.
Oh, stop.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. I love to hear the stories of like, I didn't want it. And then it's just like, see, I always want it and I don't get it.
But,
so,
but to this,
and it's
to
rude.
this, where again, it may turn around in the future. I think right now, just hold off on getting a dog until like, things can work out, or like when the kids are older, like or old enough to be like, it could be their responsibility, because it also seems like it's such a responsibility on UOP, which it seems like you're fine with.
Yeah.
But your husband doesn't want that responsibility.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And you got to respect that. Some people just aren't like pet people, And that sucks because I want to like own a farm. But like, who's going to want to do that?
Yeah. I think it's just in due time.
Yeah.
But right now it's going to be a no. It may be a no for the rest of time, but you never know.
But it definitely has to be a conversation.
Yes. You can't just spur up a brand new dog randomly.
Definitely see where lots of Redditors are coming from. I'm used to handling and managing things for the family, and it's worked out for us so far. I managed things at home while he was gone. I made sure I could support us when he left the military while he figured out his next steps, and most family activities and vacations generally falls on me. In between, very happily and thankfully, taking care of the financial, physical, and emotional needs of 3 people, I get told to think of myself more. But I wasn't sure how pushing harder for another dog lied within the realm of general advice. That's why I came to Reddit, because I was unsure where to draw that line. So thanks again for the perspective, Reddit. I will not push for another dog because it will be detrimental to my marriage and Theo. Maybe sometime after Theo passing, I will bring it up again, but I won't push the issue. That's the end.
My husband prioritized video games over our baby, so I refused to move abroad.
But babe, I was playing The Sims. It was like a version of our baby.
I, 22 female, have been married to my husband, we'll call him Isaac for the post, 22 male, since December 2022 and together since December 2019. My husband is in the service and we are stationed in Europe. By the way, this comes from Looking for Advice, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Angie.
And OP says, for some backstory, we married while he was home for Christmas during basic training, and he immediately left after to go to South Korea. He had made the decision to leave and go on his own without talking to me, and I decided to suck it up and manage until he got his next PCS. During this time, we hadn't communicated much, and that caused a lot of tension for me. I was blindly following him, and at one point considered leaving him since he prioritized his friends over spending the little window of time we had to talk together, trying to keep the relationship alive. I decided to go and try to make things work since our marriage really hadn't had a chance, and things were okay. I was having a hard time due to cultural differences, especially in a military environment, which I had never been in previously. Also, having a lack of friends made things extremely lonely for me while staying in Europe, and I became a bit depressed and hardly left the house. In November 2024, I found out I was pregnant, and early 2025, my husband was told he'd be taking a pay cut. Never really let me in on our finances, even though I'm financially dependent on him, and just kept assuring me that we could make it work with the baby being on the way. However, during this time, he received an offer to go to some special school for training for his position, but it'd be for 2 months and I'd have to stay in Europe by myself. I wasn't comfortable with it due to being completely alone, pregnant, and the possibility of something happening, and being alone during it. He had offered to send me home for this time, which I was grateful for since my mother was having health issues. I was around 6 months pregnant and would have been close to 8 months when I was supposed to arrive home. First, arriving to my home state and starting to receive OB care, I found out my pregnancy was high risk and that I had IUGR. This was scary, and I was reaching out to my husband trying to ease any anxiety and also still try to keep him in the loop as he missed the appointments. Isaac never really reacted to the situation and just said that everything would be fine, kind of brushing it off. The man who brought me to every OB appointment and was very involved in the pregnancy became radio silent again, like our separation when he was in Korea. Any updates I'd give him, he'd just leave me on red. And when I'd ask why, he'd just say, I don't know what you want me to say. You do know what she wants you to say, because she's telling you what she wants you to say.
Listen to her and then say it. That's all you gotta do.
Truthfully, it's pretty simple.
My goodness.
This proved tiring and was stressful on top of an already stressful situation, and was stressful on top of an already stressful pregnancy. I was hoping he'd become more involved again once he was able to take leave and try to be here for the birth. I was wrong. He came to our home state on the notion of him being on leave so he doesn't need to worry, help out, or do much of anything. All day long, almost 24/7, he's on his PS5 with his friends or on his gaming laptop playing Minecraft. It's worth mentioning we decided to get me a dog for when we are supposed to fly back to Europe, but he's been no help training or managing our dog's behavior, and this was very foreshadowing for me. I knew it was risky getting a dog during this time, but before having my son, I worked hard to get him to learn some basics like sit. We were hardly interacting with each other, and tensions got worse when he didn't want to help my mom out with groceries or little things while we stayed with her waiting for our baby to make his arrival completely free. She gave up his bedroom so we'd have space. But 2 weeks before the induction, my husband made a comment suggesting that our child and I should stay behind so we could get BAH and separation and try to save some money while I stayed with my mom. Then he finally admits how much he's now receiving, and it's not even enough for one person alone to live off of, never mind 3. What is he doing?
Yikes, dude.
Like, again, this whole time he's just been leaving OP in the dark.
Yeah.
And right before she's about to, have this baby, he's like, so we can't afford to have this baby.
Yeah.
And also, you need to get a job.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, how do you... I don't get how you, think that way.
Yeah.
And, not catch this ahead of time,
I have no idea. Yeah. I think that he
wild.
knew this was all going to happen, and he's just putting everything
Probably.
off. He tells me this over not wanting to purchase us fast food since he didn't want to get groceries after just buying a brand new PS5, $300 worth of Pokemon, and a $3K leg sleeve. Mind you, I have been nickel and diming myself to not be a burden and just getting my necessities. This caused me to stress more, and as I tried to make a plan and figure out what me staying behind would look like, but after creating the plan, my husband says that it was a joke and that we'll all be going back together and make things work financially. 2 weeks after that conversation, our son was born. It was 36 hours of induced labor, and it was exhausting. All things considered, it went exceptionally well, and we were both over the moon being first-time parents. But once we arrived back at my mom's, he instantly started playing video games all day long again. When he'd take the baby, he'd just sit him in his lap while he played and barely paid any attention to him and was very careless. Many times our dog has tried to jump into his lap and nip at the baby. One day, Isaac had even fallen asleep on the couch with our baby in an unsafe position with our dog free roaming, and my younger sister had to take our baby from him. Then he had me primarily taking care of our child all day and all night. I was barely functioning for the first month while my husband seemed to be having a great vacation.
Yeah, 'cause she just had a child.
She just had a kid.
He needs to be stepping up so much while she heals.
Well, it feels like he is on leave and thinks that it's, he doesn't have to do anything.
Right.
It's like, no, you're on leave because you just became a parent.
Yeah, you're supposed to be given time to take care of your child, but you're not.
Yeah, you're not doing that.
Oh my God.
As my belly started going down, my first week home with the baby, I mentioned that I was slimming down way faster than I thought and was feeling confident even though I had a little mom pouch. Isaac turns to me and says that I better get on them crunches, and that flipped a switch in my brain. I'm aware of the hormonal plummet happening at this time, but found myself crying over how he wouldn't check up on me with how I'm doing physically or mentally, but I was bending over backwards to make sure he was fine. One morning, I asked him to pick up baby wipes, and when he came home, he came back with protection and lube.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I hope those aren't for you.
Yeah.
Hope those aren't for you, because certainly nothing's happening there. As tensions progressed, I had taken my husband aside to go on a drive so we could speak freely while my mom watched our son, and I laid everything out there and how uneasy I felt. I desperately wanted him to say something, literally anything. He defended the protection and lube, saying that it was for just in case once I was cleared and that everything would be better once we got back to Europe. Do you think the baby's just gonna disappear when you're in Europe?
Yeah, what?
Baby just doesn't exist there?
And like, if that's true, that's why you're getting all of that stuff, why would you get it now when
Also,
she's not cleared? She's still healing down there.
Yeah. And also didn't get what she sent him there for.
Yeah, you are
one
supposed to
job.
get things that you needed now.
Supposed to get baby wipes.
Yeah. Oh my
Come on,
god.
dude. I'm terrified to go back since I am completely alone there aside from my husband and now child. Foreseeing myself taking on our son mainly on my own while he works during the day and would just come home and be on the game all evening. Since I'm financially dependent on him, having to rely on him to send us back if things didn't work out feels dangerous. I should mention that he never says anything when I try to talk about anything regarding our relationship. He's been taking our son a little bit more during the day while I try to sleep, but that's it. He's still careless with him even when I try to give him pointers or correct him. He just ignores me and continues on. But you should never ignore full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
Leave him.
Leave him.
Get out of there.
Don't go abroad with this man
No.
who can't take care of you,
No.
can't take care of your son,
Yup.
doesn't really seem to care about his family at all.
Right. He needs to be alone.
Yeah.
And figure out that he can't even take care of himself. If he's spending all of his money on games and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and
He's
it's
gonna
not
have a
even enough
rude
money
awakening.
to afford himself anyway, then yeah, he needs to suffer those consequences.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you need to stay with your mom.
Yep.
Find a way to support yourself apart from this guy.
Yep. You
And
can
go
do
from
it.
there. He's still purchasing Pokemon and clothes for himself, even though we're still on a tight budget. And he's yet to even check up on me still, physically or mentally, and won't even pay me the slightest compliment. I felt myself pulling away from him, but we're now very new parents, and I don't want to deprive him of our son. We've been together since we were juniors in high school, so staying in the States feels like the end of us. I've talked to my mom and friends, but everyone is so biased, and I just need someone to tell me their thoughts on the situation. I was banking on our son's passport not arriving in time for the flight, but it came within 2 weeks, and now I really need to make a decision before we leave. And now I really need to make a decision before we leave in the next 2 weeks. I know I don't want to go, but I guess I need someone unbiased to validate the decision. And that's the end of that story.